Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Sunday, May 18th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORION NWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Seattle Mariners versus the San Diego Padres. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Sunday, everyone. On the thumb on the left, it is our ace on the Seattle Mariners, Bryan Woo. And on the right, the right fielder stud, Fernando Tatis Jr. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, DHing today for Seattle, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting third, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, playing first base, Rowdy Tellez. Batting sixth, catching today for the Mariners, Mitch Garver. Batting seventh, playing right field, Leody Taveras. Batting eighth, playing third base this afternoon, Miles Mastrobuoni. And batting ninth, playing second base, welcome to the lineup, Leo Rivas. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 4-1 record, an ERA of 2.84. It is our best pitcher in 2025. He should be an all-star, Bryan Woo. And now let's get into the starting lineup for the home San Diego Padres. Leading off for the Padres in right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second, playing first base, Luis Arraez. Batting third, DHing for the Padres, Manny Machado. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, center fielder, Jackson Merrill. Batting fifth, playing shortstop, Xander Bogaerts. Batting sixth, playing left field, Gavin Sheets. Batting seventh, playing second base, Jake Cronenworth. Batting eighth, catching today for San Diego, Elias Diaz. And batting ninth, playing third base, Jose Iglesias. And on the mound for the Padres, one of their aces, 4-1 record, just like Bryan Woo, ERA of 2.32. It's going to be a showdown. Michael King. All right, let's go, baby. Can't wait to see what we get here today with the Padres and the Mariners. Let's go. Chris in the building. What's good? Pizzle building. What's good? Let's get everything situated and set up here, and we should be good to go in just about a minute. All right, baby. We'll be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. Let's go, baby. Michael King on the bump. And leading it off for the Mariners at shortstop will be J.P. Crawford. On deck will be big dumper catcher Cal Raleigh, DHing today. And batting third, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Let's go Mariners. Tridents up. All right, baby, here we go. Let's get it. And yeah, Mariners are, doing typical Mariner, chaos baseball type of things. Like, the Padres are one of the best teams in baseball. And of course, we ended up beating them in the first two games with Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock. Two pitchers that are essentially AAA pitchers. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby are still injured. They'll be back in about a week and a half. Brian Wu is our number one. Luis Castillo at this point maybe is our number two. We don't really trust Bryce Miller this year because he's got injuries to his back and his elbow, so he's on the IL. But of course, it's the most Mariner thing to do, playing against one of the best teams in baseball, the San Diego Padres. And not only that, we're playing them in their own house, in their own building, and then to be able to win with Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock, it definitely shows you that the focus is always going to be there with the Mariners. We're going to hit a wall like we did with the Blue Jays, and the Yankees, but we can bounce back real quick. First pitch to J.P. Crawford in the box, high and inside, takes a strike looking with a sinker. 0-1 count. J.P. in the box and Michael King on the bump. 0-1 pitch. Inside, high, sinker, 90 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Michael King. And again, 4-1 record with an ERA of 2.32. So this could end up being a pitching duel. 1-1 pitch. Inside. No. He decides to go low and away. Fouls that one off with the sweeper. Nice IJP. 1 ball and 2 strikes from King to Crawford. Let's go. And we need a fast start. And hopefully we can get a few runs early within the first 5 innings. Let's go, JP. Gabriel in the building, Peter in the building, Pizzle in the building, it's in the building. What's good? Let's go. I'm ready. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is high and inside. Seems like a theme for King here today. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. King on the mound and J.P. Crawford in the box. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off with the 4-seam fastball. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. And I'm definitely excited that we got finally Leo Rivas in the starting lineup. 2-2 pitch and a big swing and a miss. Down goes JP, striking out swinging, 1 away. It's okay, JP, still love you. Batting second, DHing for the Mariners here this afternoon, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go. And most home runs in the MLB this season, Shohei Ohtani with 16 and 3 tied for second. Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge, and Kyle Schwarber with 15. It's nice to be able to have our very own Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani on the Mariners, which is Cal Raleigh, big dumper. And hopefully he ends up hitting a magnificent number this season, which it feels like he will. First pitch takes a strike looking right down the pipe. 0-1 count to big dumper from Michael King. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging, low and away, gets baited by a pitch there by King, behind the count now 0-2. 0-2 pitch, and a big swing and a miss by Cal. I haven't really seen him that overly aggressive in a minute. Goes down in 3 pitches, 2 away. Nice job by Michael King. We'll give him some love. We're not haters here. Nice job punching out one of my favorite players on the Mariners. Next up, for Seattle, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Struggled in March and April, but has absolutely been magnificent in May. Let's keep it going. Let's go, Julio. Tridents up. First pitch to Julio, high and away with the sweeper. Tries to bait Julio like he did with Cal on the previous at-bat. Julio does not bite. 1-0 count. Top of the first, nobody on. Michael King on the mound. Julio Rodriguez in the box. 1-0 pitch, low and away with the changeup this time around. Julio does not bite. 2 balls and no strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. Let's go Julio. I like to see this nice, patient Julio in the box. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and in the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. And Julio popped up to the shortstop, and that was a very quick inning there for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, our ace, our number 1 pitcher, 4-1 record, ERA of 2.84. You know who it is. It is Bryan Woo. Let's go, baby. I'll see who's up next here for the Padres in the bottom of the first. Leading off for the Padres in right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second, playing first base, Luis Ariz. And batting third, DHing today for San Diego, Manny Machado. Let's go Mariners. Yeah, well, I mean, with no bias, I mean, anything can happen. It's hard to beat a really good team 3 times in a row. Hell, it's hard to beat any team, even the shitty ones, 3 times in a row, let alone 4 times if you end up having a series that goes that long. This is our best pitcher, though. If we were able to win with our worst pitchers in game 1 and game 2, and this is our best. Yeah, Michael King is good, but let's not act like Bryan Woo isn't a good pitcher. He should be in the All-Star game this year. So, we'll see where it goes. Again, there is a good opportunity to get the brooms and get the sweep since we won the first 2 games, but the magic number is going to be 4 runs, 7 to 10 hits. If we score 1 to 3 runs, we'll probably lose this game. But if we get 4 or more, there's a very good chance the brooms can come out and we'll have a chance to do that. You got to think the Mariners won 9 consecutive series in a row. This isn't the normal Mariner team from last year or the year before when we were batting 180 to 220 as a team, which is one of the worst, and the number 1 strikeout team in baseball. We're not that team anymore. We're a top 3 hitting team. Instead of being a top 3 pitching team like the past, we're probably somewhere, in middle of the pack, 10th to 15th until we get Kirby and Gilbert back in about week and a half. But I definitely like our chances here. 0-2 pitch, back, see ya! Nice homer by Fernando Tatis Jr. Already knew it was just a matter of time, regardless if it's going to be Logan Evans, Emerson Hancock, or now Bryan Woo. Woo's got the heat, but Tatis saw the vision. Back, see ya! 1-0 Padres. And again, as long as we can have Woo only give up 3 runs or less, that should give us a good chance to compete as the game goes on. Next up, first baseman, Luis Ariz. And again, we won 5-1 in game 1, 4-1 in game 2. They've left a lot stranded, haven't hit a lot of homers, but now getting off to a nice fast start, 1-0 San Diego. First pitch fouled off from Wu to Arise. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. High and in the zone. Fouled off again. Behind in the count now 0-2 for Luis Arise. Wu on the mound. Arise in the box. Bottom of the first, 1-0 Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. just went yard. 398 feet to the left center. And hopefully that will be the only homer of this particular inning. We got to make sure we're competitive here today, especially with our best pitcher on the mound. Trident's up. Oh-2 pitch. Fouled off again. 3 consecutive foul balls on 3 four-seam fastballs, all about 94 miles an hour from Bryan Woo. Hopefully he'll be able to settle in and not let that homer get to him as the game progresses. Let's go, Woo. You never like to see your best pitcher give up a homer in the first, but let's be honest, Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of the best baseball players in MLB. So, at some point, you knew that bat was going to come alive in the series. We were able to contain Aaron Judge until the last game in the series as well, and he went yard. That one goes foul. 0-2 pitch. And a nice base single. A little base knock single to left by Luis Arise. Come on, Woo, settle in. Great contact hitter from Arise. Next up, DHing today for the San Diego Padres, Manny Machado. First ballot Hall of Famer at third, one of the best third basemen we've ever seen. That was very Ichiro-like on that Arise base knock into left, right into Randy's glove. First pitch. And grounded out to the double play. That's what I like to see, Manny Machado. Shortstop to second to first. Arise out at second. There we go. 2 away. Exactly what we needed right there after giving up that big homer. Thank you, Manny. Next up, another stud. Center fielder Jackson Merrill. First pitch. In the zone. Fouled off from Bryan Woo. 0-1 count. Let's go, Woo. Settle in, my guy. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away with that slider. 1 ball and 1 strike from Woo to Merrill. And Jackson Merrill has been fantastic. 382 average, 4 homers, 17 ribbies, an OPS of over 1,000. The guy is one of the best up-and-coming center fielders in the game. And we should know we got one in Julio Rodriguez. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging. Big swing and a miss, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Woo to Merrill. One-two pitch, high and away with a 4-seam fastball. Again, fouled off. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. Fernando Tatis Jr. with a solo dinger to give him a 1-0 lead. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We need 2 more to get to 10, 12 more to get to 20, and then we can hit the algorithm and then get a few more recommendations from YouTube, which would be great. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees, tries to jam the hitter inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Woo to Merrill. Two pitch, got him, nice. Jackson Merrill strikes out swinging. And the damage was done with that solo shot by Fernando Tatis Jr., but we keep it just at 1 run. Let's see what happens here in the top of the second. 1-0 Padre lead. Next up for the Mariners in the 4 spot, left fielder, cleanup hitter today, Randy Arozarena. Let's go, Randy. On deck, batting second in the 5-hole tonight, first baseman Rowdy Tellez. And batting third, catching today for the Mariners, Mitch Garver. Let's go Mariners. Appreciate the 5 of you that smashed that like button. Now we're at 13. 7 more to go to hit 20 to hit the algorithm. And we've been getting about 40 to 50. We got back-to-back 2,000, people in the building for this particular series, which is not really a surprise. The Padres are a very, very good team, 27-17 overall. They were 16-5 at home until we won the last 2 games. Now they dropped to 16-7. We improved our record on the road to 12-8. We're 25-19. So we're only a couple games behind, the Padres pace. And it's nice to be able to compete with a top-end team like the Padres finally for once. End of the first inning, 1-0 San Diego. Michael King, 4-1 record with an ERA of 2.32. Pretty untouchable, like most of the time with Brian Wu. But again, if we can find a way to get 1 or 2 runs within the first 5 innings, that will definitely give us a good chance, since we are one of the best teams in MLB in the 7th through 9th inning. There's not very many teams that can compete with us in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. We really bring out, everything and some in those last 3 innings, but hopefully it'll be competitive at that point. First pitch, inside with a sweeper to Randy Arozarena for Michael King. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. High and away. Takes a strike looking in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. We need you, baby. 1-1 pitch. Fouled off. Same location with the sinker this time around. 92 miles an hour in the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes from King to Arozarena. Top of the second, 1-0 Padres with a solo dinger by Fernando Tatis Jr. in the first. And Randy, big swing and a miss, strikes out, 1 away. We may need to figure out something else there in left field. Randy has not been very good as of late. Next up, first baseman, a guy that has been good, Rowdy Tellez. Let's go, Rowdy. Bring that electricity, baby. First pitch, low and away with the sinker from King to Tellez, 1-0 count. And hopefully we'll get a few walks, on King, or if he ends up slipping up and hitting a guy or 2, as long as our guys don't get hurt. We just got to be able to find ways to get guys and runners in scoring position. 1-0 pitch, high and away with that changeup, 5 feet off the plate. 2 balls and no strikes with 1 out and nobody on. This might end up being a walk here for Rowdy. 2-0 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and no strikes with 1 out and nobody on. Up in second, 1-0 Padres. Let's go, Rowdy. 3-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away in the zone for a strike. 92 miles an hour with that sinker. 3 balls and 1 strike, 1 out and nobody on from Michael King to Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy batting 200, which is a little low, but he does have 8 homers. So for a guy that usually is boom or bust, he's been a little bit better than we thought. He has actually been able to get a few singles, a few RBIs late in games to help us win. And that bat, obviously, with all that power, you never know when a homer is going to come through for Rowdy Tellez. And there we go, 3-1 pitch. And that is a walk. There we go. Nice job by Rowdy being patient in the box and not trying to play hero ball. Nice job. Next up, catching today for the Mariners, Mitch Garver. Let's go, Mitch. First pitch to Mitch Garver, low and away with that slider, 84 miles an hour from Michael King, 1-0 count. And again, this should be a pitching duel. We didn't expect yesterday's matchup to be a pitching duel with Emerson Hancock. But again, sometimes you don't really know what's going to happen in the game. And, the game started to open up as the game, kind of progressed. But based on both of these pitchers with 4-1 records and both with under ERAs of 3, could go any way. 1-0 pitch, and Garver lines out to center, 2 away. Next up for the Mariners, right fielder Leody Taveras. Elliot in the building, Double E, what's good? We missed you yesterday. You know, and again, Mariners doing Mariner things. You know, who would have thought that two AAA pitchers would be able to beat the San Diego Padres in the first two games in the set for this Vetter Cup series? Supposedly, we are a big rival with the Padres, which isn't true. But, you know, if they like to make things up for a holiday weekend, you know, and have some kind of attachment to this series, so be it. First pitch, high and away to Taveras, 1-0 count. But we'll see how it goes here today. Mariners dominated, you know, pretty much, you know, a good chunk of the game. I mean, it was, you know, 1-1, you know, for, you know, a minute. And then obviously we exploded and ended up winning 4-1. But, you know, we had our worst pitcher, you know, on the bump, and we were still able to win, which was pretty surprising, I assume, to many Padre fans. So takes a strike swinging. 1 ball, 1 strike from King to Taveras. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes from King to Taveras. But you guys had one of your best pitchers yesterday. We had our worst. So I thought if Emerson Hancock gives up 3 runs or less, we'll have a chance. When he exited the game was 1-1. So for our guy that has about an ERA of 7, you know, to be able to only give up 1 run, I knew that we were going to have a good chance to beat you guys, and we found a way. Bats came alive, you know, after the 5th. And Taveras strikes out swinging. Michael King is a G. Nice job by Michael, mowing him down. 4-1 record, ERA of 2.32. Next up, here in the bottom of the second, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. Batting second, in the 6th hole, left fielder Gavin Sheets. And batting third, it's the Crone Zone, second baseman Jake Cronenworth. Four Ks for King already, and if you're just coming into the stream, Fernando Tatis Jr. in the bottom of the 1st, homer to left center, 398 feet to give him a 1-0 lead. And then just a quick recap, obviously, in the matchup yesterday, Gavin Sheets, he homered to center, 401 feet, Double E, to give you guys the 1-0 lead. So you did have the early lead yesterday. And then Rowdy Tellez in the next inning, in the top of the 5th, homered to center as well to give us the 1-1 lead. And then obviously Emerson Hancock, with his ERA of 7 being our worst starter, ended up exiting the game kind of in a crucial moment where we pulled the pitcher at the right time. Then a couple innings passed. Cal Raleigh homered to left center to give us a 2-1 lead. And then in the top of the 9th, Dylan Moore singled to left. Arozarena scored. Raleigh scored. Solano to second. And then that was pretty much it. So a lot of guys were left stranded in the first 2 games. And again, bullpen was a little shaky for the Padres. But again, when you got your ace on the mound, just like we have our ace in Brian Wu, you got Michael King. Both are 4-1. King's got an ERA of 2.32. Wu's got an ERA of 2.84. Both could be all-stars, you know, coming into the all-star game here in a few months if they keep progressing the way that they are. And, you know, who knows who's going to win here today, but hopefully the bats come alive. If the Mariners score 1-3, we're going to lose. But if we put up 4 runs or more, 7 to 10 hits, we should have a chance at some point late in the game. First pitch, the Xander Bogaerts takes a strike looking in the zone with a sinker, 0-1 count. And Brian Wu has been absolutely magnificent for us in this particular 2025 season. Bogaerts grounds out to the shortstop, throw to first, 1 away. Next up, a hitter that's been pretty good, even though they haven't been able to manufacture a lot of runs in the first 2 games. Left fielder today, Gavin Sheets. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. Sheets in the box, Brian Wu on the mound. It's crazy to think Brian Wu used to be our number 5. Obviously with Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Luis Castillo, Bryce Miller, and Brian Wu. But obviously with injuries to Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, who hasn't even played in 2025 yet, but he's getting close, had shoulder inflammation in spring training. It's going to be exciting to be out, actually be healthy to a certain degree. Pitches outside, 2 balls and 1 strike from Wu to Sheets. But when we get Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, then at that point we'll have Wu, Luis Castillo, and then probably we'll keep Logan Evans, I would hope, over Bryce Miller, because so far Bryce hasn't been good. Hancock is a backup, kind of just emergency option. And if I had to choose between Miller, Hancock, or Evans, I would go with Evans. I like the goggles, and he's got that swag and confidence. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss from Sheets, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Sheets. Two-two pitch, fouled off right down the middle. Sweeper, 84 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Sheets. Let's go, Wu. Pitches outside, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Sheets. 3-2 pitch, fouled off with that slider. Count remains full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out with nobody on. 1-0 Padre lead here in the bottom of the second. Fernando Tatis Jr. with a solo dinger in the first, and that is about it up to this point. And Sheets strikes out looking. 2 away. Nice job, Wu. Wheeling and dealing, baby. Keep pace with Michael King. Nice job, Brian. 2 away. Next up for the Padres, it's the Crone Zone. Second baseman, Jake Cronenworth. Come on, Wu. Hopefully we get the Trident to come out a few times here today. We've been able to successfully hit quite a few homers against the Padres in this series on the road. And, this is exactly what we needed. We were at home and got swept by the Blue Jays after winning 9 straight in play. And Cronenworth with a single to right. Nice hit there. Nice job by Jake. But again, sometimes when you're at home, you start to get a little comfortable with everything. Everyone cheering you on and, maybe, taking the opponent for granted a little bit. And Blue Jays came in there to Seattle after we won 2 out of 3 earlier in the year in Toronto. They swept us. We only won 1 game out of 3 in the next series against the Yankees because the bullpen blew the other 2 games where we should have won 2 out of 3 against New York. But, it is what it is. But to come on the road and play a very, very good playoff caliber team in the Padres and win the first 2 with our 2 worst pitchers, that's really saying something. And even Logan Evans hasn't been pitching like a bad pitcher. He's actually, you could probably argue that he might be more trustworthy than even Luis Castillo. He actually might be our second best with what we have right now. First pitch takes a strike looking to Iglesias. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking in the zone again. Nice pitch by Wu. Behind in the count now 0-2 to Jose Iglesias. 0-2 pitch, fouled off with the 4-seam fastball high and inside. 94 miles an hour by Wu. And seems like he's settling in after giving up that homer in the first inning to Fernando Tatis Jr. Thankfully, it was just a solo shot. 0-2 pitch. Low and away with a sweeper, about 5 feet off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Iglesias. And Wu doesn't have Cal Raleigh, obviously calling this game. It's Mitch Garver. So Wu definitely at a disadvantage here today. quite a bit of a downgrade as far as calling a game with Garver and Cal Raleigh. But hopefully Mitch will be good enough to at least keep us competitive in this matchup. Bottom of the second, runner at first with 2 outs. Wu on the mound, Iglesias in the box. In play. And a nice base knock. Iglesias singled the right. Cronenworth the second. Iglesias, I see you. Runners now on the corners at first and third. And then he slides into second, taking advantage. What a base knock there. Next up is catcher Elias Diaz. First pitch, takes a strike looking in the zone, 0-1 count. Runners at second and third. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging high and inside, behind in the count, 0-2 to Elias Diaz. 0-2 pitch from Wu, high and away. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Diaz. 1-2 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 96 miles an hour from Wu, bringing that heat. Bottom of the second, runners at second and third with 2 outs. 1-0 Padre lead with a Fernando Tatis Jr. solo dinger in the first. And they're threatening again. The bats are starting to come alive for the Padres in game number 3, the rubber match. Wu being our best pitcher. King, one of the best on the Padres on the opposite side. Wheeling and dealing early and often. But let's see if Wu can settle in and get out of this jam. STL in the building, what's good? Appreciate that. 4 more to get to 20. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. Bottom of the second, runners at second and third. In play, and got him. There we go, baby. Nice job by Brian Wu. Diaz grounds out to second, and we are going to the top of the third inning. Nice job by Wu there. Next up for the Mariners in the 8th hole, third baseman Miles Mastrobuoni. Batting second in the 9th hole, second baseman today, Leo Rivas. Great to be able to see him finally in the lineup. And batting third, back at the top of the order, 0 for 1 with the K, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Now let's take a look at some stats. So far here early in the matchup, Brian Wu, 2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 2 Ks, gave up that solo dinger to Fernando Tatis Jr. Michael King doing a little bit better, obviously, at this point. 2 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks by Michael King. Let's go Mariners. Trident's up. Captain in the building. Double E in the building. Reflect in the building. What's good? I don't know why Leo Rivas has got into the doghouse with Dan Wilson and whatnot, but, obviously we had some players that, were hot and then kind of cooled off, right, with like Polo and Demo and Ben Williamson. But, if I had to choose between Mastrobuoni or Rivas, playing like at second, I would go Leo all the way. But I don't really understand why we're playing Miles Mastrobuoni so often. Not very reliable of a hitter. Not the greatest defender, in my opinion. He's okay, and whatnot. One of the weak links in the lineup. But, like, with him and Donovan Solano, it kind of feels just like last year when we had, Jorge Polanco and Mitch Garver, and we thought that was terrible. But again, hopefully Miles can do something, but, you just don't have a whole lot of confidence in him here, at least at, the moment. 0-1 pitch, and he lines out to left, 1 away. But I wouldn't be playing Miles Mastrobuoni. If it was me, I'd be definitely switching things around a little bit. Next up, second baseman, a guy that should be starting every game, Leo Rivas. Great to see Leo finally in the lineup. And hopefully Leo will be able to produce. Hopefully we'll be able to get a bunt drop down at some point or another. First pitch, high and away with a sinker, 1-0 count. And we already know baseball is one of the toughest sports to play. And again, you have to make adjustments, based on, how the player is playing at the moment. But sometimes, they're just going to keep guys where they're at, regardless if they do good or bad, like Randy Arozarena. It's like no matter if he's good or bad, they just keep him out there in left field. And I would like to be able to see, him get replaced by someone like maybe Demo every once in a while. So that will open up second base for maybe a guy like Leo Rivas. I think with Demo and Rivas playing, it gives us a better chance than with Randy and Miles Mastrobuoni, in my opinion. And I know that Miles and Randy are going to get hits and make some good defensive plays, but that's, just kind of how I feel at the moment. Takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Michael King to Leo Rivas. I mean, really what it comes down to is stats and analytics, right? And Rivas grounds out to first, 2 away. So again, some people, they don't look at the stats. They don't look at the analytics. They don't look at the batting average or go through, the hits and the RBIs and the OPS if they're a good defender. And again, that's what this channel is for, specifically for like me and Reflect and a few others. That's all we do. All we do is read and watch film and look at stats and analytics to be able to find the best way to moneyball this Seattle Mariner team. First pitch to J.P. Crawford, fouled off, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away with a 4-seam fastball by Michael King. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. But, I haven't really ever seen a manager that's got a player that is batting 300 to 350 that plays every 5 to 10 games. It's just weird, especially when you got guys that are playing over him that aren't as good as him. He's good on offense. He's good on defense. He's good in the box. He's patient. He can draw walks. He can steal bags. He's fast. I don't understand why he's in the doghouse, but, they're definitely playing Donovan Solano and Miles Mastrobuoni more than I like, for sure. 2-1 pitch, or 1-2 pitch, excuse me. High and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from King to Crawford. 2-2 pitch. Low and away, about 10 feet off the plate. Now count is full to JP. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and nobody on. Top of the third, 1-0 Padre lead. And you had a Fernando Tatis Jr. solo dinger in the first, off Brian Wu, which is rare. 1-0 San Diego. Pitch right down the middle, fouled off with the changeup from JP. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. And obviously we know that, when you end up switching pitchers, you go from a righty to a lefty, depending on who's up next. Even if they ended up hitting up a home run, in the previous at-bat like Rowdy Tellez, and then you end up bringing in Donovan Solano, I still don't like that rule. And I'll say it every single time. In play, and JP pops out to third, and that is the end of the Seattle Mariners in the top of the third inning. But I would rather have my good hitter go against a left-handed pitcher after, him playing well against a righty, instead of a lefty's coming in and Rowdy's left. No, we got to bring in Donovan Solano. What are the chances that a guy like Donovan Solano, who's already struggling, has a better chance of getting a hit than Donovan Solano, going on a lefty rather than Rowdy going left on left? I still would think that even if the percentages are a little bit lower, than from a right-handed Rowdy, he's got a better chance to draw a walk or get on first than Donovan Solano. So we've also seen this with Polo and Mitch Garver. And most of the time, Dan Wilson, and, Edgar and Seitzer, they got something cooking where a lot of times we're like, no, and then they end up getting a hit or an RBI. So it hasn't really burned Dan as often as we would like, and again, every single team does it.
but I still would rather, keep the hot hand in, even if it ends up being a switch from a righty to a lefty pitcher, especially if the guy hit a home run at the last at bat, let him continue to cook. You're hurting the team by bringing in a guy like Donovan at that point. But, again, we were able to win with, two of our low-end pitchers and Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock. And, right now, Logan might be even more trustworthy than Castillo, at this point. We'll see what happens with him, obviously, on the bump, I believe, tomorrow against the White Sox. But, Wu is our 1, Castillo 2, Evans is threatening for that 2 spot at the moment. He's been pitching pretty well. 1 rough start on the road, but 2 really good starts at home, and that, impressive win against the Padres a couple days ago in game number 1 in the set here in the Vetter Cup was impressive. So, it's all about trust. And right now, even Emerson Hancock being our worst starting pitcher, with an ERA just under 7 coming into the game yesterday, he only gave up a run. So it's nice to be able to see our young guys developing. And again, we need that, to be able to compete, obviously when our starters are out. But Logan Gilbert and George Kirby should be back in about a week and a half with no setbacks, hopefully. Fingers crossed. First pitch from Wu to Fernando Tatis Jr. here in the bottom of the 3rd. Low and away with the sweeper, 1-0 count. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. Bottom of the 3rd, 1-0 Padres. 1-0 pitch, fouled off high and in the zone. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Brian Wu. 1 ball and 1 strike here in the bottom of the 3rd. Yeah, well, you can be happy with Dan, but again, for us here on the channel and specifically me, there's not very many people that are going to be watching every single game, every single pitch from beginning to end. Some people, when the game's a blowout, they go turn the TV off and they run errands. So I'm able to really, break down this team on a deeper level, rather than a lot of others out there that, may not be watching every single piece of action throughout every single game. But, Dan hasn't been perfect. There's been some questionable substitutions, keeping guys in too long or too little. Little dribbler, throw to first, got him. 1 away. Down goes Fernando Tatis Jr. Next up is Luis Arise. In play, and Arise grounds out to second, throw to first, 2 away. Next up, DHing for San Diego, Manny Machado. And even though we're in first place and Dan Wilson is doing a better job than Scott Service, there's still issues, with the bullpen, and again, some strategies, involved, like Emerson Hancock, in his previous start when the game was 2-2 and it was in the 5th inning and you got runners at 2nd and 3rd with no outs. And when you're a good manager, you pull the guy. I don't care if it's an all-star or a scrub. You pull them, because if you don't, they're going to get a couple RBIs, and then it's going to end up being 3-2, 4-2. You may get an out or 2, and then you're going to give up a cheap 3-run jack, and that's exactly what happened. And in a matter of 5 minutes, we were down 7-2 instead of being tied 2-2. And Dan could have prevented that. Not to say that our bullpen wouldn't have done the same fucking thing. We don't got too many guys that we can trust right now besides Brash, maybe Legomina, and then obviously Munoz with the ERA of 0 still, which is really impressive. But, some of the bullpen guys are, very, very shaky to say the least. First pitch outside from Wu to Machado, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Manny Machado. 1-1 pitch. Got him. There we go, baby. So in the rotation, if I'm doing it and I'm managing the team, I'm going, if we're just doing it based off, we'll see how it all, plays out. But I'm going Logan Gilbert 1, George Kirby 2, Brian Wu 3, Luis Castillo 4, and then I'm taking out Bryce Miller and Emerson Hancock, and I'm giving the keys to the castle, the keys to the kingdom, to Logan Evans. I think Logan Evans has deserved, out of the 3 guys, Bryce Miller has got a back issue, an elbow issue, and I think it's fucking with him mentally. So until he can end up being okay and proving that he can win, then normally he's the guy. In years past, there's not even a debate. But right now, Emerson Hancock and Logan Evans seem like they're pitching a little bit better as of late, but I still would go Miller over Hancock, but I would go Evans over Miller. So that's how I would go. So Bryce and Hancock would be the odd man guys out, and I would put Logan as our new Brian Wu, and obviously Wu used to be in the 5-hole, and I think Logan Evans, with the gogs, he gives you a swagger and a confidence and an aura similar to Brian Wu. When we called him up, you could just tell something was a little different about him, and that's where I would go. And then if Bryce can end up getting healthy enough and then Logan Evans starts kind of hitting a wall, then you can swap those guys. But for the time being, if Logan Evans keeps wheeling and dealing, I'm going to stick with him as the 5th guy. And I think a lot of people would agree with that, because again, Hancock, he had a 1-2 record, ERA just under 7, only gave up a run yesterday, and that's nice, but we need to see a little bit more consistency. He definitely is the worst guy, besides Bryce Miller this year as far as starters are concerned. Let's go to the top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Padres. Next up is Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. First pitch to Cal Raleigh, fouled off, in the zone, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away with the changeup, 10 feet off the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike from King to Big Dumper. Yeah, that is true. We did have a big lead last year, but also we were a terrible hitting team. We were batting 180 to 220, and we were the number 1 strikeout team. Now we actually can hit. And, even though the pitching may not be top 3 as far as the starting rotation, maybe we're somewhere between 10th and 16th, but again, we're finding ways to be able to score runs. So yeah, if we might give up 3-4 runs, but if we're scoring, an average of 6 a game, it doesn't matter. You win 6-5, 6-4, who cares, right? But last year and the year before that and the year before that, we had a hard time getting to 4 to 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. So, again, we're going to go through runs. We are going to be able to, hit a wall again, like we did against the Blue Jays. And then the Yankees, again, it's going to happen again, but it feels like this team is built a little bit differently, top to bottom, and again, we just need to be able to be healthy. And on top of all the injuries to Ryan Bliss, Victor Robles, Luke Raley, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, and we're still able to be a first place team at this point. That says a lot on, where we're at, where our farm system is, number 1 in MLB, and the, the promise of being able to, have more guys heat up. And again, we've had a few guys cool off a little bit. Demo, Polo, Ben Williamson, but I'm confident that they'll be able to heat up again. Pitches outside, count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Big Dumper. 3-2 pitch and a big swing and a miss. Down goes Cal Raleigh, getting punched out twice here by Michael King. We got to give Michael King some love. He is the man. 4-1 record, 2.32 ERA. He is definitely a nasty pitcher. Nice job by Michael. We'll give him some love. We're not haters here. Next up for the Mariners, a guy that's been hot here in May. Let's continue it into June as well. First pitch outside with the changeup on the line to Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. Reflect with a 3-er. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. $3 holla. And then another one. Now we're at 5. Now we're at 8. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 8.92 to go. I don't know what we're at the likes, but if someone can take a look and let me know, that'd be greatly appreciated. Pitch is fouled off. Inside in the zone from Michael King to Julio. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 4th. 1-0 lead. And if you're just tuning in the first inning, Fernando Tatis Jr. went yard, 398 feet to left center, 1-0 Padres. We have no hits yet and 1 error, and they have 4 hits and a run. So something's got to give. We know Michael King is great, but if we can find a way to get 1 or 2 runs on him, by the 6th inning, that'll give us a better chance in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Julio grounds out to the catcher, 2 away. All right, man. Thank you so much for your support. Trident's up. Next up, Another guy that has been kind of on a downward spiral. Yes, he has been able to get walks, and he's been hit by pitches a lot like Ty France used to. But again, not a lot of homers and not really a lot of base hits lately, it feels like, with Randy Arozarena. First pitch high and away with a four-seam fastball. Doesn't get baited there. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Sweeper down and in the zone. Takes a strike looking. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Michael King wheeling and dealing. Yeah, he's nice. I like his confidence and swagger, and he's got a good aura on the bump there. Here we go. And better late than never. Back. See ya. I'm telling y'all, this guy, if anyone was due, for a home run, it was definitely Randy Arozarena, and we've been waiting, and finally, there it is. Nice job, Randy. Holy cow. I didn't know when we were going to get this homer. I was thinking that maybe he would homer possibly in the White Sox series. I didn't think it would be here, and finally, getting his 6th homer of the year. Let's fucking go. Fernando Tatis Jr. Hey, if you lay one in the zone, Randy finally making his paycheck worthwhile. Let's fucking go. There we go. We're knotted up at 1, and this is very similar to how yesterday's game ended up starting off. The Padres took a 1-0 lead with Gavin Sheets with a homer. Rowdy Tellez homered in the next inning. Even though it took us a couple more innings to get it, we got it, and now we're knotted up at 1. I love it. Next up, first baseman Rowdy Tellez. 0-1 pitch. And Tellez doubles to left. Let's go. Nice job, Rowdy. Really starting to turn it on since WrestleMania weekend against the Blue Jays in Toronto, hitting a solo jack as well as a grand salami, and he hasn't looked back since. Way to bring the electricity, Rowdy, and way to bring the electricity, Randy. Randy and Rowdy. And I had to give Randy a new photo for good luck. Looks like it worked. Next up for the Mariners, catcher Mitch Garver. I mean, if you really want us to go crazy, Mitch goes yard at some point in this game. Wow, and Rowdy almost got a homer there. Barely missed it by about a foot. Let's go. Try that's up, baby. Randy must have heard all the complaining about his hustling and decided, you know what? You're right. I need to be better. And thankfully, we finally got him to get us on the board. And you never know who's going to be the unsung hero. Sometimes it's going to be Julio. Sometimes it's going to be Cal. But we need the others. JP, Randy, Dylan Moore, Ben Williamson, Polanco. We need others to step up as well. 0-1 pitch, fouled off again. Behind in the count now, 0-2. Runner at second. Rowdy Tellez with 2 outs. We're knotted up at 1. Mitch Garver batting under 200, 1 homer, 6 ribbies. Not a very good player, obviously, overall. But we should have probably kept Tom Murphy if we're actually being real for a backup catcher. But at some point, we're going to call up Harry Ford, and then we don't really need Garver anymore. And again, Harry Ford could be the backup catcher, and he could also DH if we need him. Again, he's in AAA, and I don't know how long they're going to wait, to be able to bring up some of these guys. You don't want to bring them up too soon, but we've had some pretty good luck from our guys in AAA. Ben Williamson, Bliss, still kind of a AAA player, but I still think Tyler Locklear could be a player that's better than Donovan Solano that could back up Rowdy. That would give us a better chance, considering he's more of a baby Ty France, in my opinion. Pitch is low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes from Michael King to Mitch Garver. 2-2 pitch. There we go, baby. Garver singled to the pitcher, Tellez to third. And again, sometimes, you start a rally and you get a guy that's been struggling. He hits a homer. Rowdy's been really hot lately. He continues his hot streak, and then it rubs off on a guy that isn't a very good player in Mitch Garver. Nice job, Mitch. Next up, right fielder, Leody Taveras. Let's go, Leody. Runners at first and third with 2 outs. Can Leody get a clutch RBI here? And again, it's all about getting 1 or 2 runs on the ace. The Padres are going to want to get 1 or 2 within the first 5 innings on Wu. We're trying to get 1 or 2 on King. And then we're one of the best teams in baseball late in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So I know as long as we're down, by 5 runs or less, preferably close, like, maybe a run, that if we end up being down, we can come back. but as long as we keep it within 5 runs or less, and I know 5 is a lot, if this was in years past and we were down by 5, the game's fucking over. But in this 2025 Mariner team, it's not. And we can definitely find a way to get it going. Yeah, same thing could be said for Julio, Polo, Cal, a lot of our guys. Demo, when they get hot, they can definitely help carry the team. Yeah, Sheets went from first base yesterday into left field. You guys have been rotating a different player there in left, obviously, every single game. You went with Hayward yesterday, and it didn't really work out that well as, Obviously, left field is a weakness there, as you know. And there we go. Taveras with a nice RBI. Ground rule double. Tellez scores. Garver to third. 2-1 Mariners. Woo! Fucking go. Woo! Let's go, baby. We're trying to go for the sweep. Get the brooms like Harry Potter, baby. Top of the fourth. Runners at second and third with 2 outs. And there was a Dodger fan in here earlier talking about how great Michael King is. He's great, but let's not forget about Brian Wu on the other side as well. And again, we got the bats, and our bats have been hotter. Even though King is a great pitcher, our bats have been hotter than the Padres, and we're showing that we have the ability to even sweep a team as good as the San Diego Padres in their own building. Crazy. Next up is Miles Mastrobuoni. Now, if you really want the Mariner fans to go fucking wild, you get an RBI out of Miles, because Miles is kind of like a Donovan Solano. You don't really expect a whole lot. Better than Donovan, but again, not really the most trustworthy player in the box. Unless he's bunting, which I would trust, but not in this situation with runners at second and third with 2 outs. Pitches outside with the changeup. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Michael King to Miles Mastrobuoni. Top of the fourth, runners at second and third. I mean, you really want to get us on your good side. You get a 2-run RBI double here, or even an RBI single to make it 3-1 would be great. But if we can get it to 4-1, I wouldn't say that the game is over, because obviously we know the Mariner bullpen stinks. It's not very good. We trust Brash, Legumina, Gabe Spire now more so than we have. And then obviously Andres Munoz is the best closer in baseball, but you got to have a lead to be able to get Andres in the ninth. Pitches outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runners at second and third with 2 outs. King struggling now on the mound. Miles Mastrobuoni in the box. Maybe the best case scenario for Miles if he just doesn't swing and gets a walk here. Come on, Miles. Nice to be able to plug away on a pitcher as good as Michael King here. Stand with Ukraine in the building. What's good? I told you OKC was going to win. Regardless if they ended up having injuries on the Nugget side and, they're trying to make it a big deal. Regardless if you have injuries and you end up playing Gordon, that wasn't going to be the difference in the game. They never were going to win that game. And again, that's probably going to be the best series. There we go. Miles Mastrobuoni. Woo! Reached on an infield single to second, bringing home another 3-1 Mariners. Get the brooms. Get the brooms. Hell yeah. Things are going good when Garver and Taveras and Mastrobuoni in the 6, 7, and 8 hole are doing business. Next up, a guy that should be starting every fucking game, Leo Rivas. Let's go, Leo. Bring the electricity, baby. Top of the fourth, 3-1 Mariners. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Michael King getting roughed up, and I love it. Leo Rivas in the box. First pitch, takes a strike looking high and away with the sinker. 0-1 count. Could we get another RBI here by Rivas to make it 4-1? I mean, this does not happen to Michael King. He's 4-1 with an ERA of 2. Just above 2.32. So again, very solid player, but the Mariners bats are coming alive here on the road. And sometimes you need to go on the road, after being at home for so long, to be able to get that, me against the world type of mentality. And it's working. Takes a strike looking on that first pitch. 0-1 pitch, high and away with the sweeper. 1 ball and 1 strike from King to Rivas. Let's go, Leo. I wish we had like 1 out here. Then I would say just fucking drop the bunt down, and Rivas could end up bringing another run home. But you can't do it with runners at first and third with 2 outs. Too easy for possibly the force out at second. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from King to Rivas. Let's go, baby. Takes a strike looking on the 1-2 pitch. Or 2-1 pitch, excuse me. 2 balls and 2 strikes with that changeup. Big swing and a miss by Rivas. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Runners on the corners at first and third. Top of the 4th, 3-1 Mariners. And Rivas strikes out looking. Unfortunate that we weren't able to get one more run right there. You know, you want to be able to stay hot when the bats are hot. But again, I don't think any Mariner fan is going to complain right there. Obviously, the Padre fans like Double E doesn't like seeing the score blow up to 3-1 with Michael King on the mound. But it really does show you that this Seattle Mariner team, we don't fear anybody. You know, we can play the Tigers, we can play the Yankees, we can play the Astros and Rangers and the Athletics in the division. There's not anybody in the American League that we are scared of. And then we can play teams, you know, like the Padres or the Dodgers, you know, or the Giants, even though the Giants swept us at the beginning of the year. You know, again, if Robles didn't end up getting injured, running into the fucking wall and, you know, breaking his shit, you know, maybe we would have ended up winning that, at least that last game. But I like being able to see this best version of the Seattle Mariners. This is the best team that we've had, top to bottom, in 24 years. We haven't been this good since the 2001 team with Ichiro in his rookie season, where we won 116 games. And we're not going to win 116. But if we keep playing like this, we might have a good chance to get to 90 to 100, which we typically are hovering, you know, normally around 85 to 88. You know, I predicted going into the year around 88 to 90 wins. But if we continue this type of, you know, hot streak with the Seattle Mariners, it is possible that we get to 90 to 100, and nobody's going to want to, you know, play us once we make the playoffs. Same thing goes for like the Tigers, and then teams that kind of ended up being under the radar, right? Tigers, Mariners, Cubs, Giants. You know, we already knew that the Yankees and the Padres and the Dodgers were going to be good, but some of the other teams are kind of coming out of nowhere and obviously improving their manager, improving the team and the farm. And let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning with a nice 3-1 lead. Let's go. Next up for the Padres, 0 for 1 with a K. Center fielder stud Jackson Merrill. First pitch low and away from Wu to Merrill. With the changeup, low and away, 1-0 count. On deck will be Xander Bogaerts, and batting third, playing left field today, Gavin Sheets. Let's go Mariners. Captain, can you help me out with the likes and the donos? We're at 8 on the dono train, and I don't know what we're at on the likes because I haven't got a chance to look yet. But hopefully we're over 20 by now. We're just cracked the 1 hour mark. So we've been hitting about 40 to 45 to 50 regularly now. So pitch fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Merrill. 40 likes. Good to hear. Let's see if we can get to 50. 30 likes. Let's go. So we're at 30, 20 more to go. And we had back-to-back streams of 2,000 people plus. So, you know, my goal, you know, at some point during the season is for us to be able to get every stream at 1,000 people or more. And then, you know, once we do that, then, you know, we'll try to go for 2,000, you know, but it may take some time. And obviously, depending on the series, you know, this is going to be a little bit more exciting for fans rather than the White Sox coming up tomorrow. And Merrill fouls out to first, 1 away. But if we can get to a point where we're at 1,000 or more, roughly on every stream, and then some, you know, peaking at 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, depending on what happens in the game, that would be great. And we're getting very close to 20,800. We're only a couple subs away. First pitch to Xander Bogaerts, takes a strike looking. In the zone, 0-1 count. Ana. Buenos dias, buenos tardes, buenos noches. Vamos, maneros. And we're at 8 on the dono train. Captain, we're at 8, 92 to go. Pitch fouled off by Xander Bogaerts from Brian Wu in the zone. 0-2 count. Bottom of the 4th, 3-1 Mariner lead. 0-2 pitch, low and in the zone. Should have been strike 3 right there for Brian Wu, but they call it a ball. I don't know what that's about, but Again, umps haven't been as bad in this series compared to the Blue Jays and the New York Yankees. When we played those two teams, the umps were incredibly terrible. This one, in this particular series, hasn't been as bad. But again, still some questionable calls. But you could say that in any game that you watch in baseball. We'll see if we end up getting a makeup call on that last pitch that should have been strike three. Bottom of the fourth, 3-1 Mariner lead. 1-2 pitch in play. And Bogart singles to center. And of course, that always happens, right? When you're supposed to have strike three, and then usually the next pitch ends up leading to a home run or a nice single, double, triple. Next up, left fielder Gavin Sheets. And just to give you guys a quick review, if you're just coming into the game, bottom of the first inning, Fernando Tatis Jr. homer to left center, 398 feet, 1-0 Padres. Top of the fourth, Randy Rosarina homer to left, 389 feet, 1-1 Mariners. Padres tied up. Then Taveras hit a ground rule double in the top of the fourth. Tellez scored, 2-1 Mariners. And then top of the fourth, later on in that inning, Mastroboni reached on an infield single to second. Garver scored, Taveras to third. And that's where we're at right now. 3-1 Mariner lead, getting good production out of the guys in the order late 6, 7, and 8 hole. First pitch, low and away with the slider from Wu to Sheets. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike swinging. Big swing and a miss by Sheets. 1 ball and 1 strike from Wu to Sheets. 1-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking low and in the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Sheets. Bottom of the fourth inning, 3-1 Mariner lead with a runner at first and 1 out. 1-2 pitch. Fouled off. High and away with a 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour from Brian Wu. Let's go, baby. Brian Wu on the mound. And Gavin Sheets in the box. Let's go, baby. Let's improve on that 4-1 record, 2.84 ERA. And again, Dan Wilson should be the manager of the All-Star game in 2025, and we should have a few guys in consideration for an All-Star appearance. Brian Wu, Andres Munoz is a fucking lock. Cal Raleigh is a lock. And again, we'll see if we get anybody else, but we should have at least 3 representatives in the game. In play, and Sheets lined out to center and flies out to center, 2 away. Down goes Sheets. I see you, Randy. I see you, Julio, out there in the no-fly zone. Next up, it's the Crone zone. Second baseman, Jake Cronenworth. Bottom of the fourth inning, 3-1 Mariners. Let's go, baby. But it's just nice to be able to actually have a team that can hit, instead of, our team hitting 180 to 220 as a team and being one of the worst hitting teams and the number 1 strikeout team for the last 3, 4, 5 years. We're batting as a team around 240, and I think that they're good enough to get it up to 250. And again, lots of homers, lots of base hits. Yeah, pitching hasn't been good. Injuries have been brutal. Our bullpen sucks, but we still have enough guys in the pen and enough guys that have filled in, like Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock, where, it hasn't hurt us. And we've been able to really show how good we really are. And it also helps that we have the number 1 farm system with 10 players in the top 100, and that's number 1 in MLB. Kind of scary to think that we have that many great players in the farm on top of the guys that we already have on the team. And got him. Down goes Crone zone. Jake Cronenworth. End of the fourth inning, 3-1 Mariners. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the fifth. But I think this was the perfect series for us after playing the Blue Jays at home and maybe being a little too overconfident trying to win our 10th consecutive series. And we hit a wall hitting. We only scored 1 to 3 runs. That whole series, we got swept. Then we played the Yankees. We should have won 2 out of 3. We ended up only winning 1 out of 3 and lost that last game because we ended up giving homers in the pen to Goldschmidt and Aaron Judge, and then we ended up losing that matchup. But then to have a really tough opponent on the road is exactly what the Mariners needed, because again, we got the White Sox on the road next, right, for a 3-game set, which we could potentially sweep. If we sweep here, we can sweep the White Sox, right? Or at least win 2 out of 3 if we play good ball, right? If we play shitty ball, we're only going to win win 1 out of 3. And then after that, we got a 4-game set against the Astros, our main rival. That's going to be heated, and we should be able to beat them up a little bit. Hopefully win 3 out of 4. I don't think that a sweep would be possible against the Astros, but you never know. And then after that, we got the Twins. And even though the Twins have been hot, I like our chances. So again, sometimes you need to have that me versus the world kind of mentality. And I'm really happy that this series wasn't at home and, at T-Mobile. It was on the road. And sometimes you need to refocus yourself and kind of regroup. And again, we're going to hit a wall again, like we did against the Blue Jays and the Yankees. But if we can bounce back, sooner than later and then get a sweep, on a team like the Padres, it'll make us forget about getting swept by the Blue Jays, as well as only winning 1 out of 3 against the Yankees. And we can look forward and trying to be able to win a few more consecutive series in a row. The record, obviously, this year was 9. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to that point again, but this team is good enough where they could. End of the 4th inning, 3-1 Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2 with a K, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Dropped the bunt. Batting second, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, DHing big dumper Cal Raleigh. And batting third, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. First pitch, J.P. Crawford from Michael King. Low and away with the sinker, 1-0 count. 91 miles an hour by Michael King. Let's go, J.P. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking in the zone. 4-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour by Michael King. 1 ball and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking inside. High and inside with that sinker, 89 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes from King to Crawford. Come on, J.P. Five more likes to 40. Let's get there. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Help us out. And again, the better that we can get on the likes and the comments and the subs and the views and the donos, it's all going to bring this channel together. And we're only a few subs away from 20,800. Shout out to all the new subs that we've gotten. And we just got another one here today. We're only 4 subs away from 20,800. Let's go. And a couple more 100 subs, we'll be at 20,000, 21,000. We're only 204 subs away from 21,000. Let's go. Pitches inside, low, and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. 3-2 pitch, and a big swing and a miss. Down goes J.P. And J.P. had an 0 for 4 day yesterday with Polo and Ben Williamson. Polo and Ben Williamson aren't in the lineup, and J.P. struggling again here today. Should have dropped a bunt down. This would have been the perfect time to do it. You're the first batter. It's the top of the 5th. Drop the bunt. These little slight adjustments could be all the difference in the team. Next up, DHing big dumper Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. Shohei Ohtani leading the league in homers with 16, but 3 guys tied for second place at 15. Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, and our very own big dumper, Cal Raleigh, top 5 MVP candidate. And it's cool to be able to think that we actually have our very own Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani in Seattle. And we can get Cal and Julio to be hot at the same time. It's going to be like Jordan and Pippen. It's going to be very, very tough to be able to battle those 2 guys when they're hot. And again, just needing the other role players to step up. We need JP to get hot again, Polo to get hot, Demo to get hot, Williamson to get hot. But, again, we're starting to find our way. And a big swing and a miss. Takes a strike looking there. Down goes big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Cal's been going down really quickly against King. He had an at-bat where it was, swing and a miss, taking a strikeout looking. And, you don't usually see that out of Cal, obviously struggling. But, the reason why is one reason. This guy right here, Michael King, because he is a good pitcher. Down goes Cal Raleigh, taking a strike looking. And he is 0-3 at this point as well. But I still have faith that Cal can get at least a base knock later in the game. Next up, Center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Top of the fifth, 3-1 Mariners. In play, and Julio grounds out to third, throw to first, and that is the end of the Mariners in the top of the fifth inning. All right, see who's up next here for the Padres. Next up for the Padres, 1-for-1, third baseman Jose Iglesias. Batting second, 0-for-1, catcher Elias Diaz. And batting third, 1-for-2 with a run and an RBI, a solo dinger in the first, right fielder Fernando Tatis Jr. Let's go to the bottom of the fifth inning. Mariners up 3-1. And we were able to win game 1, 5-1 with Logan Evans. Game 2 with Emerson Hancock, our worst pitcher, 4-1. And now the score is 3-1, and we're not done. We're definitely going to be scoring at least 1 or 2 more runs before this game is over. And depending on who they bring in the bullpen, if they struggle, it could end up being more than that. And we already know our bullpen is shaky at times, but when we have a lead and we're not down by 5 runs, obviously the bullpen will pitch better. They play based on how the game is going. I appreciate you. We got a couple Reds fans that come through on the channel pretty regularly. Hopefully things will continue to get better and better for you and L.A. de la Cruz. Let's go to the bottom of the fifth inning, 3-1 Seattle. All right, we're 4 likes away from 40. If you're in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. 4 more from 40, 14 more from the goal to hit 50 before the game ends. Let's go, baby. And Iglesias grounds out to third, throw to first, 1 away. Down goes Jose on that first pitch. Should have been a little bit more patient there, but we could say that for a lot of our Mariner players as well. Next up is catcher Elias Diaz. Yeah, you're correct. Not many catchers get to 40 home runs, but based off the pace that Cal is at, right there with Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, he's using a torpedo bat this year from the left side and the right side. Normally he's good for 30 to 35. Diaz grounds out to the shortstop, throw to first, 2 away. But I actually do think, Cal will have a chance, to get, somewhere in that, depending on how hot he gets in a particular month. If he gets hot in a month, he could end up hitting, 15, homers in a single month. And if he ends up doing something like that, he might actually get somewhere between 40 and 50 homers. It's definitely possible. Same thing goes for Ohtani and Judge. We haven't really seen, Cal take it to that next level. But if he normally hits 30 to 35 without a torpedo bat, and now the team is better, as a chance. So, I definitely think getting to 40 home runs is possible this year. And if he doesn't get to 40, you best believe he'll be at like 38 or 39. He'll like barely miss it if he ends up missing it. But I definitely think 40 to 50 home runs is going to be possible. And I know we were probably thinking that if we ended up having a player get to 40 to 50 home runs, we probably thought, oh, it's going to be Julio Rodriguez. But realistically, it's probably going to be Cal. And, Cal could be that guy that ends up hitting 35 to 50 homers for the rest of his career, or a good chunk of his career, as long as he doesn't get hurt. Bottom of the fifth, 3-1 Mariners. 1-1 pitch. High and away. about 5 feet off the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Wu on the mound. Fernando Tatis Jr. in the box. I mean, Cal is already a top 5 MVP candidate with guys like Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. So it's nice that, he's able to, connect and not only as a switch hitter from the left side and the right side, but really what makes him so valuable is his leadership. So, being a great catcher, throwing guys out from the knees at first and second, but being able to have the leadership no matter what is going on with our starters or our pen to give them the confidence and, that they need when they're struggling. And again, if we had Mitch Garver, as our catcher and that's it, and we never had Cal Raleigh on this team, you take Cal out of the team completely, we don't even have a 500 record. We're below 500, 100%. So, it really shows the impact on how good Cal truly is. And down goes Fernando Tatis Jr. I like that, baby. He strikes out swinging. Nice job by Brian Wu. And let's go to the top of the 6th. Nice job, Brian. Way to bring that electricity, baby. Let's do a little update now for the pitchers that are on the staff. All right, let's see what we got. So Brian Wu, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 3 Ks, gave up a solo dinger. That's it. 67 pitches, 49 strikes, 2.75 ERA. He is money. Let's go to the flip side here with Michael King. 4-1 record coming into the game with a 2.32 ERA. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks. So obviously he's got the Ks, but he's given up 3, and that's the difference. So let's go to the top of the 6th inning, see who's up next for the Mariners. Next up, left fielder with a solo dinger, a guy that finally got back on track, Randy Arozarena. Nice job, Randy. 1 for 2 with a run, RBI, and a K, and gave us that home run to give us that extra Uncle Mo and momentum that we needed. Next up, 1 for 1 with a run and a base on ball, first baseman Rowdy Tellez. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run, catcher Mitch Garver. Let's go Mariners. Trident's up. You've only lost like 2 series all year, right? I believe you guys lost, to the Tampa Bay Rays, and this would be the first sweep that obviously you would have gotten. And again, this is not the, same Mariner team in years past that people could beat up on. Essentially it's like, I hate to say it, but it's like, for the Padres, usually you guys don't really fear anybody, but again, it's like we're the American League, kind of like, we're not as good as the Dodgers. We haven't won the pennants like them and all that, right? But as far as being a good team, Randy Arozarena, there we go, in play, go, 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 doubles to right. But again, there's not very many teams, we're like the Giants or the Dodgers, in the American League going against the Padres, where when the Padres play the Dodgers, it's not going to be a guaranteed win. When you play the Giants, it's not going to be a guaranteed win. You're out for a battle, regardless on how the series ends up. And I feel like Seattle has had the Padres number, regardless if it's at home or on the road. But again, this is the best team we've had in 24 years. The Padres have been good for quite a few years now, just like the Dodgers. But the Cubs, the Giants, the Tigers, the Mariners, they're showing you that those 4 teams that normally aren't, at the top of the standings or relevant are relevant this year. And definitely excited to see where, teams are normally under the radar. Now everyone has them on their radar at this point. Next up is Rowdy Tellez. First pitch from Michael King to Tellez, takes a strike looking in the box, 0-1 count. Top of the 6th with a runner at second. Randy Arozarena having a great game. Had a good game yesterday as well. In play and flied out to center. Randy Arozarena tags up from second, reaches third, and we have a runner at third down with 1 out. Nice job, Rowdy. Next up is catcher, 1 for 2 with a run, Mitch Garver. See if Mitch can get an RBI here. And Padres ain't coming back today. Not happening. And again, you can beat up on other teams and whatnot, but again, 16-5 record at home, now 16-7 and on the brink of being 16-8. But again, if this was, a Mariner team from last year or a few years ago, yeah, maybe you sweep us, but we're not the same team anymore. We actually can hit. We're a top 3 hitting team, instead of being like the number 1 strikeout team and the worst hitting team. It's a big improvement with Edgar Martinez and Seitzer helping us out. Pitch fouled off, finding the count now 0-2 from King to Garver. Yeah, 100%. Let's get there, baby. One-two pitch, fouled off with that sinker. 1 ball and 2 strikes from King to Garver. More of the role players have stepped up. It's not just like one guy that's hot, because that's how it was for the Mariners in the last 3 to 4 years. We would have like one guy out of 9 that would be hot, and then the rest would struggle. And again, when you bat 180 to 220 as a team, you're going to suck. And on top of that, being the number 1 strikeout team for years. And then now we're not. So again, even though our pitching has gone down a few, knots, on the ranking, again, the hitting has tremendously got up. And, if we give up 1, 2, 3, 4 runs, but we score 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, who cares? A win is a win. Pitch is high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with a runner at third and 1 out. King on the mound, struggling. Garver in the box. Three-two pitch, fouled off with the changeup. Count still full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mitch Garver. Yeah, but the Mariners are just like the Tigers and the Cubs and the Giants, where people didn't really think that they were going to be this good, in 2025. But, it's nice to be able to have new teams shine instead of the same 3 or 4 teams that are always going to be there, like the Dodgers and the Padres and the Yankees. We already know that those teams spend money and they're going to be good. But it's also nice to be able to see others, kind of move their way up the pecking order. And Garver fouls that one back behind the plate. Count still full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from King to Garver. Chris in the building. What's good? In play. There we go. Mitch Garver singles to left. Randy Arozarena scores. And that's when things are going really, really good for the Seattle Mariners. When you got guys like fucking Mitch Garver, who's not a good player. Donovan Solano is our worst player. Garver's not that far behind him. But lately, you feed off the momentum of others on the team. And Randy and Mitch are having themselves a game. Nice RBI single. 4-1 Mariners. And, you ain't coming back in this one. Sorry, bud. You can wait to the next series. And down goes Michael King. And again, remember, he's one of the best pitchers on the staff. 4-1 record, ERA of 2.32. No problem for Seattle. We send him off into the pen, and let's see what happens here and who they bring in. We might be able to add on. And again, it's a weird thing to be able to see the Mariners score, 4 to 15 runs, pretty regularly. I'm kind of used to them scoring 1 to 3. And then if we do get to 4 or 5, with the top 3 pitching staff in the past, we could win. But now the pitching staff might be like top 15 because we have injuries. We haven't had Logan Gilbert, for half of the year. We haven't had George Kirby at all in 2025. Brian Wu used to be our 5 and now is our 1. Luis Castillo used to be, like number 4 and he's our 2. Then we had to bring up 2 AAA pitchers and Emerson Hancock and Logan Evans. And lately they've been good. And then on top of that, Bryce Miller, who typically is one of our top 5 guys in the rotation, has been bad this year with a back and an elbow. And I feel like his mentals have not been right either. So again, things have been flipped around a little bit. And even though we are the most banged up team in MLB, with the Atlanta Braves, it still hasn't, hit us to the point where we're drowning in the division. We're still able to be on top in the AL West, and that's where we belong. Top of the 6th with a runner at first. And they're going to bring in Peralta to relieve King. And first pitch to Leody Taveras is high and away, taking a strike, looking on the line with a sinker, 94 miles an hour, 0-1 count. But when you're getting good production out of Garver, Taveras, and Mastroboni and Rivas, you know things are going well. Let's go, Leody. Let's go. This series for the Padre fans is going to be like when we played the Blue Jays. You just can't wait for this fucking series to end and move on, But it's a good learning experience, to understand, what you're looking at a team. And you can't approach, playing this team like you did in the past. We're the real deal. We're going to win the AL West. We have a chance to make a deep run. Yankees, Tigers, Mariners, who's going to be the team, in the American League? Nobody knows, but I like our chances. We're not afraid of New York. We're not afraid of Detroit. And again, we know the National League has got the fucking Dodgers and the Padres and the Giants and the Cubs. There's some teams over there, that are balling out as well. But, I like our chances. Pitch is high and inside from Peralta to Taveras. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. 2-2 pitch. Inside again with that sinker. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. From Peralta to Taveras. Yeah, Wu is only at 67 pitches, so he definitely is coming back for the 7th. It would be a dumb decision to pull him that early. And Taveras with the walk. And that's one problem that the Padres have, just like the Mariners. Once the starter goes out, you don't know what you're getting. Are you going to get someone that's going to be, on the level of the starter, or is it going to be worse? And I don't know if it's progressively going to get worse here, but we'll take the walk. Leody to first. And Garv at second. Next up, third baseman Miles Mastroboni. No, and now they're going to do the right thing and bring in Dylan Moore. Nice decision here. Go Demo. And Dylan Moore's got the ability to get an RBI single, RBI double, or an unexpected 3-run jack to make it 7-1. Let's go, Demo. Yeah, but Captain Wu is going to pitch in the 7th. But this is what we needed, man. We won 9 consecutive series in a row. We got our ass kicked at home and got too comfortable against the Blue Jays. Only scored 1 to 3 runs that whole series. Got our ass kicked. Then we only won 1 out of 3 against the Yankees in the next series at home. This is exactly what we fucking needed to get the confidence and the aura back, right? We needed to be able to go against a tough team that most people think is better than us and then go into their fucking house and beat them. And not only beat them in 1 game, not beat them in 2, but possibly get the brooms out and beat them in 3. And again, that will definitely carry over when we play the White Sox starting tomorrow, 3-game set. Then we got the Astros, 4-game set. And then we got, I believe, the Minnesota Twins. And they've been pretty hot as of late. But, we're not afraid of either of those 3 teams. And as long as we play up to the competition and not play down, to the White Sox, and we still keep that aura and vibe, we should have some very good success in the next 3 series. Pitch fouled off from Peralta to Demo, behind in the count now 0-2. Judah in the building, what's good? We're at 40. Let's see if we can get those last 10 likes before the game ends. It's nice that the Mariners, are respectable. And again, I don't think a lot of teams will necessarily maybe fear us, but it's nice to be recognized as one of the, top teams in MLB. And since we're the only team that's never been to a World Series, we need to have that change sooner than later. Pitch fouled off, low and at the knees. Count still 0-2 from Peralta to Demo. And Demo strikes out looking. Nice punch out there by Peralta, 2 away. Next up, 0 for 2 with a K, second baseman, Leo Rivas. Let's go, Leo. This is a good opportunity for Leo to try to get an RBI single or get a single to have bases loaded and then have JP come up, even though JP is 0 for 3 and had an 0 for 4 day yesterday. Need to get him back on track. And JP almost got to 20 games in a row with a base hit. He had a nice little streak going. Anytime you get above 10, you feel good. When you get to 15 games in a row with a hit, you feel great. But then at some point that, 0 for 4 day or 0 for 5 day is going to happen. But let's see him turn it around. First pitch fouled off by Rivas with the changeup, 0-1 count. Top of the 6, 4-1 Seattle. 0-1 pitch, changeup, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Peralta to Rivas. Come on, Leo. Takes a strike swinging with that changeup. Behind in the count now, 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second with 2 outs. 319 average, no homers, 3 ribbies, OPS of 779. Only plays, once every 5 to 10 games for whatever reason. But definitely should be getting more playing time from Dan Wilson. Not really understanding why. They only have him pinch run or pinch hit once in a while and only starts once every 5 to 10 games. He's too good to not be playing every day, but that's a Dan Wilson thing. Big swing and a miss there. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second with 2 outs. Peralta on the mound, Rivas in the box. Come on, Leo. And down goes Leo Rivas. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning and see who's up next here for the Padres. Next up for the Padres here in the bottom of the 6th, 1 for 3, first baseman, the modern-day Ichiro, Luis Ariz. Great player. Batting second, 0 for 2, DHing today for San Diego, first ballot Hall of Famer in the future, Manny Machado. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, a star in center field, Jackson Merrill. Let's go Mariners. And since Wu right now is only at 67 pitches, obviously he will be in this particular inning, and depending on how quickly he gets out, we might see him in the 7th as well. We'll kind of wait and see. He's only at 67 right now. 67 pitches total, 49 strikes, 2.75 ERA. And about to hopefully get to a 5-1 record. Should be an all-star this year. Brian Wu, all-star. Cal Raleigh, all-star. Andres Munoz, all-star. And then Dan Wilson being the manager of the American League. That's a good question. Not that many. We've been making some good ground in 2025. So we gained 2 subs here today. So we're 203 away from 21,000. We're 3 subs away from 20,800. So we're getting there. We're making some good movement. Three subs away from 20,800, 203 away from 21,000. And really what it comes down to is, like, for the main things that I do, the better that the Mariners and the Oregon Ducks do, like if they make the World Series and win, or the Ducks win the Natty, then obviously the channel will have a nice little boost and whatnot. I mean, I'm still going to do NFL coverage. I'm still going to do other college football, still going to do a little bit of Kraken and some NBA here and there and a little bit of NASCAR, but it is primarily Seattle Mariners, Oregon Ducks, and NFL with a little WWE mixed in also. But we do everything. kind of on the back burner is basketball, hockey, and NASCAR, but usually that'll be in between the period where we're waiting for baseball to start, in between February and April. Pitch fouled off by Luis Arise, still behind in the count now, 0-2. 3 consecutive pitches fouled off by Arise. Even though the Thunder might have some, issues with Game 7s in the past, this is a different Thunder team in 2025. In play, and Arise grounds out to first, 1 away. But Pacers and Knicks have 0% chance against the T-Wolves. Maybe they would have a slight chance against the T-Wolves because of the inexperience, but 0% chance against the Thunder if we get the Thunder going against the Knicks or Thunder against Pacers. And that kind of shows you where the NBA is at. It's going to be Thunder and T-Wolves, which will be entertaining, but Knicks Pacers, really? Like if it was back when Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing were playing, fine, but that kind of shows you where the state of the NBA is at, and it's not good. First pitch from Wu to Machado, low and away, takes a strike swinging there, big swing and a miss from Machado, 0-1 count. And, the Pacers and Knicks are good this year, but, again, not what we expected, from the Eastern Conference. And Machado strikes out swinging. There we go, baby. 2 away. Next up, center fielder Jackson Merrill. And really the only team in the East that would have a chance, against the Thunder, if we end up getting the Thunder representing the West, is the Boston Celtics. But again, very poorly coached playoff run, shooting way too many threes, and that was it. Again, if you can't play defense, you can't rebound, and all you're doing is shooting threes, it finally caught up to them, and that's unfortunate because I think Boston and the Thunder would have been the best finals that you could have, had as far as a matchup, that you're actually going to get eyeballs on the product. Thunder Knicks, Thunder Pacers, you're not going to get, you'll get more ratings if Thunder Knicks than you are Thunder Pacers, but that's kind of a weird thing to say. The championship for the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers. That's not going to fucking get anybody to watch. Unless you're a Thunder fan like Captain. And Merrill, in play, grounds out to second, and that's the end of the 6th inning. Good defense there by the Mariners. Let's see who's up next here for Seattle. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 3 with 2 Ks, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Batting second, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, big dumper Cal Raleigh. Something's got to give. And batting third, 0 for 3, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Think about that for a second. 0 for 3, 0 for 3, 0 for 3, and we have a 4-1 lead. How often could you have your first 3 guys in the order with nothing, and you have a 4-1 lead against a team that's elite like the Padres? I'm waiting. Shows you how good we really are here in 2025. I like Jalen Brunson. That's probably, he's solid, and the Knicks are fun to watch, compared to some of the other teams in the East and whatnot. And obviously being New York, being like the mecca of basketball, that would be better than the Pacers, 100%. So, and realistically, we probably will get the Knicks, in the finals. But if they end up going against the Thunder, good luck. Could end up being Thunder in 6, Thunder in 5. Shit, could end up being, I don't think Thunder would sweep them, but top of the 7th inning, 4-1 Mariners. First pitch, JP Crawford takes a strike looking high and in the zone with the slider, 87 miles an hour by Peralta. 0-1 count. Come on, JP. I don't want to see any of the first three guys in the lineup go 0 for 4. JP's 0 for 3, Cal's 0 for 3, Julio's 0 for 3. They can all go 1 for 4. I would like to see JP drop the bunt here. This is another opportunity that you have to try to get on base here. And JP Crawford, there we go, baby. Crawford doubles the left. Sometimes you just got to talk it into existence. There you go. JP no longer 0 for 3. Now he's 1 for 4, and he gets a double, not a single on that play. Nice job, JP Crawford. You're the fucking man. Next up, another guy that needs to get off the schneid, who's 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. You know what time it is, Cal. Could it be a little time for some magic? Trident's up. 15 homers. You're tied with 2 other players, Aaron Judge and Kyle Schwarber, at 15 home runs apiece. If you get a homer here, you'll be tied for first with Shohei Ohtani with 16. Let's go. First pitch, low and inside at the knees, 1-0 count to big dumper. Let's go, Cal. 1-0 pitch, fouls one off right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at second, JP Crawford. 4-1 Mariners in the top of the 7th. One pitch, 10 feet off the plate, high and away with the sinker. 2 balls and 1 strike from Peralta to Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. Well, considering Wu is only at 76 pitches total, he will be in the 7th. I mean, if he was in the 80s or 90s, then that could be like, well, let's see what happens. Let's, rest him and whatnot. But, I definitely have him go in the 7th, and I would love to see Brash in the 8th, and then see Munoz in the 9th, and just fucking kick that door down. And then, go get the brooms, and we can all pretend to be Harry Potter for a moment. And a big strike looking at the top corner of the zone, and down goes Cal Raleigh. You're not going to see Cal go 0 for 4 that often. But again, thankfully, everyone else in the lineup has been raking. And again, Cal had home runs in Game 1 and Game 2. Nothing in Game 3, but it's okay. We still love you, Cal. 1 away. Next up, another guy that's 0 for 3 that needs to get a base hit here. Center fielder who's had a fantastic May, Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Is it time? Trident's up. Let's go, Julio. And if you've noticed, Julio doesn't strike out nearly as often, as he used to. And again, he'll strike out here and there, but you could say that pretty much for the whole team. Like, we used to be the number 1 strikeout team last year. It's pretty rare for us to be able to see strikeouts now, which is kind of nice to see, guys pop up, ground out. And, it gets really frustrating when you lose games and you just strike out over and over and over, and then, whether the guy is a Cy Young candidate or has got an ERA of 11, it seems like the Mariners would always have 10 to 15, strikeouts every fucking game, regardless if it was a good pitcher or a bad pitcher. But now things have changed with Seitzer and Edgar Martinez. They got this team fucking rolling, and we're going to have a pitching change. They're going to bring in Morjon. When Morjon came in, we went fucking, I think, what was it? Rowdy Tellez. Let me take a quick look. I know when he came in, we ended up getting a nice home run off of him. Maybe that was the Rowdy Tellez home run yesterday. Or was it the Cal homer? I'm looking here. It was early. So I think that was Tellez then. Tellez homered off of him yesterday. Let's go, Julio. Top of the 7th inning, 4-1 Seattle. Yeah. But again, Cal helped us win in Game 1 and Game 2. And, he's sitting right there as a top 5 MVP candidate with names like Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. Who would have thought, that we would have a guy in the same sentence as Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, but we do. And again, if Julio can keep this hot streak going, to have Julio and Cal, it's going to be like having Jordan and Pippen in their prime. And again, it's going to be really tough to beat us, when not only both of those guys are on, but when our role players are on too. JP, Polo, Demo, Ben Williamson. We're going to get Logan Gilbert and George Kirby back in about a week and a half. Watch out. We're coming, and we've already arrived. We're here. First pitch, inside from Reynolds to Julio. Fouled it off. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away with a four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at second with 1 out. Reynolds on the mound coming in, and Julio Rodriguez in the box. They were supposed to bring in more, John, but they're like, no, he gave up a homer yesterday. Fuck that. And they changed their mind, which is probably a good decision from them. First in Ks, now we're 9th. I'll take that. Huge improvement. And to go from 180 to 220 in batting average to now 240 to 250, as a team, it's huge. And it's kind of funny because we talked about that, at the beginning of the year. Like, wouldn't it be sweet if we could actually hit? And things are really coming into fruition. It's awesome. Pitches high and away with that sweeper. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at second with 1 out. Reynolds on the mound, Julio in the box. In play, and Julio grounds out to the shortstop, Crawford to third, 2 away. And this is exactly who we would want up in this game. Now, maybe in the past, we wouldn't want Randy up, but today, this would be the game that you would want Randy in this situation, right? 1 for 3, 2 runs, RBI, and a K. I ended up getting that solo jack to get us on the board and tie it up. I had to throw a new photo up because, he's been struggling. With the same 2-3 photos that I had in the rotation. So I ended up getting a new one and it worked. Sometimes that's all it is. You got to be able to find new photos, new swag, new aura. And again, at some point, you knew Randy was due. And it was great to be able to see him get that homer. Trident's up. And Randy a little too over aggressive there, but hey, that's okay. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning. We still got a 4-1 lead. He set the tone for us early, and we haven't looked back. I told you, Captain, you'd win. You're going to go all the way. I mean, really, the Nuggets Thunder matchup, that should have been the West Final, but you got it 1 series early, and the T-Wolves will fight, but it's not going to go 7 games with the Thunder and the T-Wolves. I'd be shocked if that happens. Should be over at least in 6. T-Wolves are good enough to win 1 or 2 games, though. And Knicks Pacers could go 7, though, for sure. Well, it's about having Edgar Martinez and Seitzer, and having a better team. And Scott would always keep guys, and not send guys down. He's kind of loyal to a fault and whatnot. But again, sometimes you need a change. We already knew what we were getting out of a player like that, that ended up. Again, once you give a guy a fair shake to do it, and if he can't, you got to move on. And, I'm definitely happy of where we're at right now. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who's up next here for the Padres. 7th inning stretch. Next up for the Padres, 1 for 2, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, left fielder Gavin Sheets. And batting third, 1 for 2, second baseman Jake Cronenworth. And they should be bringing Wu back out because he's only at 76 pitches. But this should be the last inning that he's in. And hopefully he mows him down. And that'll end up getting him qualified, obviously, for a 5-1 record. And hopefully we get Brash in the 8th and Munoz in the 9th, baby. Appreciate you. Captain with a 12er. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you trying to give us a rounded off number. Now we're at 20, 80 to go. Appreciate you, my guy. Let me know what you want to do for photos. Same thing with you, Reflect, since you're back in the room. Let me know. Let's go. And the better that the Mariners do, the better that we're going to be doing on the streams. There'll be more people doing parlays and betting to see, what the Mariners are going to do, against the opponent and whatnot, either betting for us or betting against us. And again, we're able to get more subs, more views, more donos, more likes, more comments. And I like the way the trajectory, is going for the channel. And again, I had a kind of a vision when I first started the channel that it was going to take 10 years, to get to a point where I felt, kind of comfortable. And I've been, streaming for 14 years, but this is my 9th year on YouTube. So next year will be year number 10 on YouTube, but it'll be 14 years of streaming since I was streaming on other platforms and whatnot prior to that. So definitely excited to see where the Mariners go, not only this year, next year, and years beyond, but it's nice to be able to see them be a respectable quality team. Facts. All right, Wu on the mound, still out there. First pitch takes a strike, looking inside to Xander Bogaerts, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Sinker fouled off, behind in the count now 0-2 from Wu to Bogaerts. Let's go, Wu. Let's go, Brian. Wheeling and dealing, baby. Our best pitcher in 2025. Coming into the game with a 4-1 record, 2.84 ERA. In play on the 0-2 pitch. And lined out to second, 1 away. Down goes Xander Bogaerts. Next up, left fielder Gavin Sheets. It's crazy that we're doing this with no Ryan Bliss, no Victor Robles, no Luke Raley, no Logan Gilbert, no George Kirby, and we're able to be first place in the AL West and be one of the most dominant teams in 2025. Shout out to teams like the Mariners, the Tigers, the Cubs, the Giants. It's great for baseball. Everyone knows that the Yankees, Padres, and Dodgers are going to be good every year based on the money that they spend. But when you get teams that don't spend as much money and you get similar results or better results, it definitely is going to make me smile, seeing teams like that finally shining. Like the Giants competing with the Padres and Dodgers, the Cubs finding their way at the top of the division. We'll see if they stay there, though. Cardinals have been hot as of late. But the Cubs are definitely a team to watch, and a team like the Detroit Tigers that's kind of like the Mariners. They're young, they're up and coming, and again, I like the way that those teams ball. And coincidentally, we had a rough outing against the Tigers and Giants early in the year when we started off like 3-7 and some of the bandwagon people hopped off. Now, as the season has progressed and you see that the Giants and the Tigers are two of the best teams in baseball, it kind of makes sense that we lost, at that point. But it didn't derail us. It made us stronger. And I can't wait till we play those teams again. It's going to be a different result next time around. Pitch fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Wu to Sheets. I got you. It's tough to say if it's going to go over 7 runs or not. The way that we've been hitting, it's looking pretty good chances that it could happen. In play. And flied out to center field. Julio Rodriguez is there. Gavin Sheets. See ya. 2 away. Yeah, Randy is playing, and he actually is playing well today, finally. I decided to flip up the photo for good luck, because anytime a guy gets kind of in a slump, that's what I'll do. And I decided to go with something new, and he ended up hitting the first home run for us, and he's actually had a good game today. Next up is Jake Cronenworth. After, getting criticized and called out over and over and over, eventually they're going to have to shine. First pitch to Jake Cronenworth fouled off, high and inside with a 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Bottom of the 7th, 4-1 Mariners. Pitch fouled off, low and at the knees with that slider, behind in the count now 0-2. 1 more strike and Wu's day will be done. Then we can bring in hopefully Brash and then Munoz and kick the door down, get a sweep. I mean, baseball's 162 games, and even a player like Cal Raleigh being a top 5 MVP candidate, he's not going to have a hit or a home run every game. There's going to be games where he goes 0 for 4 or 0 for 5, especially if you have a good pitcher like Michael King, that was wheeling and dealing on him early. If it was a shittier pitcher, Cal would have possibly gotten a homer or got a couple hits, but you got to give credit to the other side. That's why Cal kind of had a rough outing. I mean, at one point, JP, Cal, and Julio were both all 0 for 3. Until JP ended up getting that double. So pitches inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cronenworth. 1-2 pitch, got him. Let's go. Brian Wu ending the bottom of the 7th with a strikeout looking. Nice job, Brian Wu. Melissa loves it. Let's go, baby. What a fantastic performance. It all started, on my birthday when he had the 1-hitter. He's been very, very good this year. And as long as we can hang on, he should be able to improve to a 5-1 record. And let's take a look at his final stat line. He is our number 1 pitcher in the organization. And if you remember, just a couple years ago, he was our number 5. Maybe Logan Evans can be the new Brian Wu at number 5. Because Logan Evans right now is better than Bryce Miller, obviously on the injured list. And even if he wasn't, I still would choose Logan Evans. And then Emerson Hancock pitched good yesterday, only gave up a run. But, Miller is still better than Hancock, but I would take Evans over Miller at this point. All right, so final stat line for Brian Wu, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, a home run in the first by Fernando Tatis Jr., nothing after that, no walks, 5 Ks. You would like to see that number a little bit higher, but that's okay. 87 pitches, 67 strikes, and then a 2.65 ERA. So he got his ERA down from 2.84 to 2.65, and he's going to improve if we hang on in 2 more innings to 5-1. Put him in the All-Star game, baby. Let's go. Dan Wilson as manager, Brian Wu as a pitcher, Cal Raleigh as a catcher, and Andres Munoz as a closer. Book it. Let's go, Mariners. Let's see who's up next here for Seattle. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2 with a run and a base on ball, Rowdy Tellez. Batting second in the 6 hole, believe it or not, 2 for 3 with a run and an RBI, feeding off the momentum of others. Catcher Mitch Garver, way to be Mitch. Wish we could say that for guys like Donovan Solano. And batting third after having a day off, 1 for 2 with an RBI, base on ball, and a K, right fielder Leody Taveras. And really, this is the reason why we ended up winning the game. Randy, Rowdy, Mitch, Leody, Miles. And again, it's like you assume that most games it'll be JP and Julio and Cal. But again, sometimes you're going to need the others to be able to step up. And that was this type of game. 0-1 pitch in play, and Rowdy Tellez flies out to right, 1 away. Okay, Rowdy, you've been great since that Toronto series during WrestleMania weekend. And again, you haven't looked back since. Next up, 2 for 3 with a run and an RBI. If he gets a hit here, this will be probably his best game of the year. Catcher Mitch Garver. First pitch, takes a strike looking low and in the zone. 4-seam fastball by Reynolds, 0-1 count. 96 miles an hour to Mitch. Pitch is high and away with a 4-seam fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike from Reynolds to Garver. And I'll get your SGA photos here at the next commercial break or at the end of the stream. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you, Reflect. I'll get photos for Reflect and Captain here at the end or during the commercial. Pitch is high and inside with the sweeper from Reynolds. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. We're in the top of the 8th, and the Mariners have been dominating the San Diego Padres in their own house. I don't know if anyone anticipated this, even us Mariner fans, but I'll tell you what, in play, and Mitch Garver lined out to left. I thought he was going to get another hit there. Holy cow. All right, 2 away. But again, after getting swept by the Blue Jays, which no Mariner fan thought was going to happen, and then only winning 1 out of 3 against the Yankees, I'll say this sweep, if we get it, will make up for those 2 series blunders that we had, especially the sweep from Toronto. They're like a 500 team. There is no way that we should have at least won one at the bare minimum, but we only scored 1 to 3 runs that whole series, and we hit a wall. And Tavares bunts foul. I was going to say, well, are we going to get anybody to bunt? Leote's like, I'll try. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Low and away from Reynolds. 4-seam fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike to Leote Tavares. Let's go, Leote. And Leote actually has been pretty productive. He's not as productive as like a Victor Robles when we brought him in last year, but Tavares has actually been decent, in right field, since we brought him in. And, if you watch the Rangers, like I like to pay attention to the whole league. He was their 9-hole hitter, and he's actually doing a hell of a lot better in Seattle than he did in Texas. So, he's probably happy that he made the switch. Pitch fouled off. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and nobody on. Mariners with a 3-run lead, up 4-1 here in the 8th. We're at 25. 75 to go. Pitches high and inside. 4-seam fastball. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Reynolds to Tavares. And a big swing and a miss. Down goes Leote. And let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning. We're still up 3. Like, even when guys strike out for the Mariners this year, it feels weird. Like it used to be such a regular occurrence where we would see like 10 to 15 to 20 strikeouts a game. Like whenever I see a strikeout on the Mariners, it feels weird because we're such a good hitting team this year. But again, that's a good feeling to have, after being really terrible at hitting for years and years and years. Next up, 1 for 2, third baseman Jose Iglesias. On deck in the 9-hole, catching 0 for 2, Elias Diaz. And back at the top of the order, 1 for 3 with a run, RBI and a K, a solo dinger to give them their only run, Fernando Tatis Jr. And Brian Wu really did settle down after giving up that first inning homer. And again, sometimes that happens. You get, kind of blasted early on, and then you settle down and settle in, and he has. We live tomorrow at 4:40 Pacific going against the Chicago White Sox. Luis Castillo going against Martin on the mound. We should be able to win tomorrow. First pitch from Carlos Vargas. You got Vargas in the game instead of Matt Brash. Come on. Hopefully Vargas doesn't fuck this up. First pitch to Iglesias inside. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike swinging low and in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jose Iglesias. One pitch, takes a strike looking. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Vargas to Iglesias. Come on, Carlos. Yeah, well, you don't got to tell us. We just got swept by the Blue Jays a few days back. So, no one likes to get swept when you're on the wrong end of the series. I'll agree to that. Pitch fouled off with that sinker. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Vargas to Iglesias. In play on the 1-2 pitch, and Iglesias singles to right. God damn it. Why didn't we put in Brash? Vargas, I don't trust you, my guy. I mean, at least put like Legomina in. Next up, catcher Elias Diaz, and hopefully we can get a double play here. First pitch takes a strike looking down the middle with the sinker, 96 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And we have such better options than Vargas, but that's Dan Wilson for you. In play, and back-to-back hits by our shitty guy in the pen, Carlos Vargas. I mean, are we trying to lose this game? I mean, I know that they're not trying to bring Brash back, but he can play. It's not like we're asking Brash to go fucking 2 innings. And if Brash was in the game, we'd have 2 outs right now. Now we got runners at first and second, and they're threatening. If we fucking lose this game, I'm going to be super pissed, especially up 4-1. Vargas ain't it. Terrible. Runners at first and second now with no outs. And back at the top of the order, Fernando Tatis Jr. with 1 swing could tie the game. Of course, Vargas gives up hits to the 8-hitter and the 9-hitter. We saw the same fucking shit against the Yankees. Giving up homers late, by Gabe Spire to Paul Goldschmidt, and Vargas giving up the homer to Aaron Judge, and we fucking lost that game. First pitch from Vargas to Tatis Jr., low and away with the cutter, 1-0 count. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you didn't put in Brash now, he's not coming in this game. They'll save him for the White Sox series. Pitch fouled off, low and at the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike from Vargas to Tatis Jr. I mean, you can always look at stats and analytics, but it's also like a trust, and again, Gabe was trustworthy in the first 5 or 6 opportunities, and the last 5 or 6 not so trustworthy. Has been able to get it done lately, but I mean, Brash has been good. Andres Munoz has got an ERA of still 0. We trust Brash, we trust Munoz, and then everyone else is kind of 50-50. They may play good, they may not, but I'm not a Vargas fan personally. Pitches inside at the head. 2 balls and 1 strike from Vargas to Tatis Jr. 2-1 pitch. Tries to jam the hitter, and he fouls that one off with the sinker. 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second with no outs. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Don't fucking lose this game, bullpen. Pitches low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Pull this motherfucker. Get him out of there. You stink. I mean, we're going to see our fucking 3-run lead evaporate right here. I was ready to go get a broom in the next inning. That may not happen now. Now you got Gabe Spire, which is probably the player that you should have brought in. Like, stop. I mean, I know you're trying to get other guys experience and whatnot, but again, for playing a team like this, you don't want to throw in a guy that's just, average or below average. Doesn't have any swagger, aura. And Tatis grounds out into the double play. Thank fucking God. Holy cow. Oh, runner advances to third, but at least we get the double play there. Jesus Christ. Next up, first baseman Luis Arise. Bottom of the eighth, 4-1 lead. Runner at third with 2 outs, and just find a way to get out of this inning. Great defense there by the Mariners to get that double play. First pitch. Takes a strike looking low and in the zone. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Fouls it off. Tried to jam the hitter at the knees. Now behind the count 0-2. Come on, Vargas. One more strike, and let's get out of this inning. Let's go, M's. Pitch fouled off. High and away. Behind the count now 0-2. And again, if we didn't get that double play, almost guaranteed they get a minimum of 1 run, but possibly 2, maybe even as many as 3. So that was huge to kind of, stop that momentum right in its tracks, because it could have got really, really bad. Vargas on the mound, Arise in the box. 0-2 count with a runner at third with 2 outs. Come on, Vargas. Pitch fouled off with that cutter, 95 miles an hour. And, you can appreciate that he can pitch like 95 to 99, but if you don't have any control while you're pitching like that, it doesn't really matter. It's like you're just kind of pitching wild, And again, we have pitchers that are like that, that throw that heat, that try to throw through the hitter. Bryce Miller's that way. Brian Woo's that way. Luis Castillo is that way. And there we go. And we get out of the inning. Thank God. Vargas, I still don't like you. But again, good job to not give up the game, which you already gave up the last time when you threw to Aaron Judge and he went yard and we lost. So awesome to be able to see us not fuck the game up late. And we still have a chance to be able to sweep this really, really good San Diego Padre team, on their own field. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners in the top of the ninth. See if we can get at least 1 more run for some insurance. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a K, filling in for Miles Mastrobuoni, Dylan Moore. Batting second, 0 for 3, which is shocking, with a K, second baseman Leo Ribas. Let's see if Leo can go at least 1 for 4. And batting third, 1 for 4 with 2 Ks, J.P. Crawford. Let's go Mariners. We will not take any Mariner slander. You can always tell the people that are mad that they lost their parlay, because then they didn't have to start talking shit. Do your research next time, and then maybe you won't lose money. Hell yeah, man. Thunder winning Game 7, right? Matching up now against the T-Wolves. Much better than the Pacers and the Knicks. And again, you should be able to win it all. And then getting a Mariner win on top of that. We're only a few minutes away. And again, I don't know what's going on with my system here, but again, I'll try to get some photos linked up. I tried to get some nice SGA ones for you, Captain, during the commercial breaks in the last 2 innings, but none of them were really converting. So I got to wait till this game ends, and then I'll be able to get you some photos. Same thing with you, Reflect. All right, we got Matsui now coming into the matchup here for the Padres. And we have back-to-back pitches fouled off with a slider and a splitter to Demo behind in the count now 0-2. Top of the ninth, Mariners hanging on to a 3-run lead, but hopefully we can add on a little bit more. Let's go, Demo. 0-2 pitch is high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Matsui to Demo. Let's go, Dylan. But definitely getting this sweep on the Padres in their own field will make up for the sweep that we took against the Blue Jays a few days ago, and then only winning 1-3 against the Yankees, 100%. We needed this. 1-2 pitch. Splitter inside, tried to jam the hitter, fouled it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. 4-1 Mariner lead here in the top of the 9th. One-two pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Matsui to Demo. Let's go, baby. Griffey loves it. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Fouled that one off with the splitter. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs in the top of the 9th. Matsui on the mound, Dylan Moore in the box. And in the pen, we got Andres Munoz and Eduard Bazardo. Tries to jam the hitter again. Demo fighting it out and grinding out this at-bat. 7th pitch at this at-bat. Back-to-back foul balls. Four-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour from Matsui. 2-2 count from Matsui to Moore. High and away. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Count now is full from Matsui to Dylan Moore. Come on, Dylan. And Demo, with good eyes, forces the walk from Matsui. Nice job, Dylan. Dylan Moore to first. Next up, second baseman Leo Rivas. 0 for 3 with a K. Let's see if he ends up dropping a bunt down to move the runner over to second, or if he can get a nice single here and get on base. I mean, I don't want to see Rivas go 0 for 4. I mean, he doesn't get a chance to play that often. First pitch is low and out of the zone with that splitter. 1-0 count to Leo Rivas. You know, things are bad in San Diego when their fans are booing their team. You know, that typically does not happen for a team that is 27-17 that is a playoff team. But I guess the Mariners bring it out in them. Pitch is inside with that slider at the hips. 2-0 count from Matsui to Rivas, and Matsui is all over the place like Vargas. And obviously they're hoping for a double play here by Rivas so they can get out of this inning somewhat unscathed. 313 average, no homers, 3 ribbies with limited playing action. Pitch is high and away, good eye by Rivas. 3-0 count, and this should turn into a walk for Rivas. Let's go, Leo. No reason to be a hero. And there it is. 4-pitch walk. Matsui can't find the plate. And we got runners at first and second with no outs in the 9th. Let's try to get 5 or 6 runs. Why not? Next up, shortstop, J.P. Crawford. And if they're not careful, and we get here to Cal Raleigh, it could end up being, a grand salami or a 3-run jack. You know, Cal doesn't go 0 for 5 that often, but we still got to be able to see what JP can do here. 1 for 4 with 2 Ks, runners at first and second with no outs. A really good chance for us to add on 1 or 2 more runs. And this game is pretty much identical to the other two games. We won game 1 5-1 with Logan Evans. We won game 2 4-1 with Emerson Hancock, our worst starter, ERA about 7. And we still ended up winning 4-1, and now we're at 4-1 again. This is not something that the Padre fans are used to seeing. And it looks like they're going to make another pitching change, which I don't think is really going to make a difference, but so be it. All right, come on, JP. First pitch to JP Crawford. Takes a strike looking. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Splitter inside at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Matsui to Crawford. Figured they were going to pull him, but they didn't. 1-1 pitch. Low and away. 5 feet off the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike from Matsui to JP. Two-one pitch, high and inside. Count now is 3 balls, 1 strike with no outs with runners at first and second. And what Matsui is doing here for the Padres is something that I feel like we've seen as Mariner fans, where you bring in a guy and they just can't get it done. You know, we have quite a few guys in the pen that are like that. I mean, hell, we might not even have to swing for the next 2 or 3 batters, and we might be able to just keep bringing in runs automatically. And there's another walk. Uh-oh, baby. Time for a grand salami for Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. Can you feel it? But he may not have to even swing. You know, it may just be like a freebie. Bases loaded, no outs. Matsui not doing them any favors. And could it be time for grabbing the mustard and rye bread? Is it grand salami time? It could be. Let's go, Big Dumper. But if they keep Matsui in and we don't swing, I mean, it'll be 5-1 in a matter of, 2 minutes from now. Three straight walks. I mean, even our bullpen typically doesn't do that. Usually it's like hit after hit after hit, not walk after walk after walk, but Padre fans leaving the building. So I've been trying to format some photos, but not my internet, but the actual streaming program that I'm using, it's like erroring out and having some like loading issues. And if I keep pushing buttons, I don't want the stream to like crash or end. So after the game ends and I close out some of these other screens, I'll see how it works. And if it works okay, then we'll be able to pop up some photos for Reflect and Captain. If not, then we'll have to wait till tomorrow. I just don't want the system to error out, because sometimes if it ends up spinning too much, and then I don't want the stream overall to freeze or it to have some kind of fatal error and shut down. So normally it's nothing to do with my internet, just the streaming program that I use, and most of the time it's pretty reliable. But I've noticed today it's had some issues. So it's not formatting some of the photos, and then it's loading extra long, and if it loads too long, there's a chance that the overall stream could freeze, and I don't want that to happen. So just to give you guys a heads up. Obviously, I would love to be able to throw up some SGA photos and some more photos for you reflect, but I think you guys get it. And again, we're going to be grinding pretty much every day. We have a game every day for like the next 7, 8, 9 days in a row, right? White Sox for 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll be here grinding it out. Then we got the Astros for 4. We're going to grind that out. And then we have, I think, the Twins after that. So I'm definitely excited, to go to these next matchups. And again, with the White Sox, we can't play down to the competition. We have to kind of, in our minds, act like we're still playing the Padres. Because if we play down to the competition, we have a chance if we play bad, we could win only 1 game out of 3, and we don't want that to happen. We want to win 2 out of 3, and if we win the first 2, we want to try to be able to sweep the White Sox like we did possibly here with the Padres. All right, first pitch to Cal Raleigh, low and away, 1-0 count as they bring Alec Jacob in. Not sure if that's going to make a difference. 1-0 pitch, 4-seam fastball fouled off. Nice souvenir for a fan. 1 ball and 1 strike here in the top of the 9th. Bases loaded with no outs. Mariners up 4-1. Let's go. In play. There we go. Cal Raleigh, sac fly to right. Demo scores. Rivas to third. 5-1 Mariners. Woo! I love it. I love it. Woo! Let's fucking go, baby. Next up, another guy that could have a big opportunity here for a 3-run jack or an RBI, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. He's 0 for 4. Let's make it 1 for 5, my guy. You've been great in May. Let's finish this series off strong and carry this momentum over to the White Sox as we travel to them here later tonight. Let's go, Julio. In play, Julio does it, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Single to center. Rivas scores. Crawford to second. 6-1 Mariners. Let's go. I love being able to see guys find a way, to make an impact. And again, at one point in this game, JP, Cal, and Julio were all 0 for 3, and now all of them have at least 1 base knock besides Cal. Obviously he wasn't able to get it, but, he got a walk, but that's essentially as good as a single. There we go, baby. I love it. Next up, Randy Arozarena. And I, figured that we were, kind of criticizing him for the hustle, and he hasn't really been very good in the box, but he's the one that really got the shit started for us today. I decided to go with a new photo for good luck. It worked. And again, he was the one to go yard to get us to a 1-1 tie after Fernando Tatis Jr. homered off Woo. Let's go, Randy. First pitch to Randy. Takes a strike. 0-1 pitch, and he flies out to left, 2 away. Nice job today, Randy, even though you weren't able to add on there. It's all right. Next up, first baseman, Rowdy Tellez. Could Rowdy go for a 3-run jack right here? We're up 6-1. Padre fans have been booing and leaving the stadium early. That's not something that you see often for a team that is as good as the San Diego Padres. But, hell, it doesn't feel good getting swept. We felt the opposite, right? When we got swept by the Blue Jays at home, it does not feel good. First pitch from Jacob to Tellez, 20 feet off the plate, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch from Jacob to Tellez, high and away. Takes a strike looking, and that 4-seam fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike with runners at first and second with 2 outs. 6-1 Mariners. Let's go. And down goes Rowdy Tellez, but that's all right. We were still able to get enough in that inning to get a little bit more insurance. 6-1 is a hell of a lot better than 4-1. Wouldn't you agree? Hell yeah, baby. This feels good. All right, let's see who's up next here for the last-ditch effort for the Padres. And let's see if they can end up getting anything here, or if we're just going to shut the door down. And this should be Andres Munoz or Gabe Spire coming in. Munoz's ERA is still at 0. Might as well have him come out. Next up, 0 for 3 with a K, DHing Manny Machado. Batting second, center fielder Jackson Merrill. And batting third, shortstop, Xander Bogaerts. Come on, streaming application. I don't know what the hell's going on with it today. All right, hold on. I got to You already know things are getting all fucked up when things are starting to disappear. Hold on. Give me a second here. I haven't had these kind of problems in a while. All right, let's see if we're good now. Scoreboard flipping off automatically on its own. You know, shit's all fucked up. And again, I might have to send a little email to this company. It's like, your fucking product is not doing good today, my guy. It's like we've had too much lag on the actual, streaming product. I mean, I got a gig internet, so I should have no issues, with the internet, but obviously the streaming platform program. So now Bazardo is coming in. Why is Bazardo coming in and not Gabe Spire or Andres Munoz? That doesn't make any sense. First pitch to Manny Machado with the sinker inside. 1-0 count. I know we're trying to save guys because we're up by so much, but let's try to get Munoz's stats higher and higher and higher, huh? His ERA is 0. I mean, what are they afraid of? That he's going to lose the game for us here? Come on. All right, Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, and Xander Bogaerts. That's what I was trying to do before the fucking application froze. 1-0 pitch, high and an inside with the sinker, 2-0 count from Bazardo to Machado. What the hell is Bazardo in? 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking on the line with a four-seam fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike from Bazardo to Machado. Yeah, and there's no way that we'd let Vargas continue. Fuck that, man. You got to go with someone better. And even though Bazardo wasn't very good for us last year, he's better this year. I trust him a little bit more than Vargas, but by not that much. I would be a lot more comfortable if it was Gabe Spire here, Matt Brash, or Munoz, but, we got a 5-run lead. Pitch fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bazardo to Machado. 2-2 pitch, inside with the sinker, high and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes from Bazardo to Machado. And Bazardo with the walk. So it shows you that was a dumb decision bringing him in. You should have had Gabe or Munoz come in. It's like, I get it. You're trying to be able to rest some of those guys and give some of these other guys that aren't good some more playing time. But this is not the time or place to do it. Next up, 0 for 3 with a K, a budding superstar in center field for the Padres, Jackson Merrill. First pitch to Jackson Merrill, high and away, 1-0 count. Pitch is inside, at the knees, 2 balls and no strikes from Bazardo to Merrill. And Bazardo is all over the fucking place like Vargas. Like, why are you having a guy that stinks in the game at this point? I mean, it's just like watching fucking what you had on the opposite side there for the Padres. I mean, are we trying to have the same type of thing that Matsui did? And you're trying to do that with Bazardo? Jesus Christ. Get his ass out of there. And another walk. What are we trying to do? See who can walk more guys between Matsui and Bizzardo? Dan Wilson, stop being a fucking idiot. And it looks like something happened, obviously, with the program where I'm going to have to message them with the music. Looks like it's not loading properly, so looks like we're not going to have any music for the rest of the way, but that's all right. We're in the bottom of the ninth here. Next up is Xander Bogaerts. Now, Woodworth is coming out, but I mean, what are you going to say? You stink, my guy. Everything breaking down. The stream, the music, and our pitchers. First pitch from Bizzardo to Bogaerts, inside, 1-0 count. Bring Munoz in already. What the hell are we doing? You should have had Munoz come in right out of the gates, and we wouldn't even have guys at first and second. Stupid. Pitch is inside, 2-0 count. I mean, are we just going to wait for him to walk 3 guys in a row and then have all the pressure on Munoz to come in to be good right away? I mean, you're asking, them to get in a position where they could score 1, 2, 3, 4 runs here, where the game should already be fucking over. See, these are the type of decisions by Dan Wilson where it makes you, it's like, oh, is this Scott Service? Like, what are we doing? 2-0 pitch, finally gets a strike, even though it should have been called ball. 2 balls and 1 strike from Bizzardo to Bogaerts. 2-1 pitch, fouled off inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and no outs. Come on, Mariners. In play. And luckily, Bogaerts lines out to left. 1 away. Next up, left fielder Gavin Sheets. Oh for 3 with a K for Gavin. First pitch from Bizzardo to Sheets, takes a strike looking. Oh, awesome. He actually can hit the strike zone. Amazing. 0-1 count. I've never had this program not have the music work, obviously, but something internally with this program got fucked up or whatever, but at least the stream didn't cut out and just end and freeze, so, which I still would be live. I would just have to reboot it while, we're still live streaming, but it takes a couple minutes to kind of get reformatted and whatnot, but 0-1 pitch in play and lined out to right. Machado to third, 2 away. Finally, Bizzardo settling in, and we're getting lucky with a couple flyouts. Down goes Gavin Sheets. All right, we're down to the Crone zone. Their last potential batter, 1 for 3 with a K. 6-1 lead with runners on the corners at first and third. Jake Cronenworth. First pitch. Takes a strike looking in the zone. 0-1 count. And fielder's indifference, huh? Merrill to second. And a runner now on third. And that's the game. Wow. Just like that, huh? Let's go. Final score, Seattle Mariners 6, Padres 1. And I definitely, if we can beat the fucking Padres, who are one of the best teams in baseball, in their fucking house, right? Yeah, we definitely should have a chance to be able to, sweep the White Sox. But before we talk about sweep, we have to make sure that we're playing up to the competition and not playing down, because we know the White Sox, they're not as bad as the Rockies this year, but they're still not a good team. So realistically, the aggressiveness, probably won't be as much as it was in this series. So as long as we play like we should be able to win 2 out of 3. If we win the first 2, we could sweep. But if we don't play up to the competition and we play down to them, and then we only get 1 to 3 runs, we might only get 1 win out of 3. So, that's kind of the thing. We have to have the pitching, do what they need to do. Bullpen needs to be good. But again, we playing down to the competition after playing a playoff team, that's going to be something that hopefully they'll be able to, bring the energy. Otherwise, if we struggle in a couple of those games, we're not going to get swept by the White Sox, but we could win 1 out of 3 if we don't get more than 3 runs each game. I think that's a fair statement. So, but hey, we can get the brooms out. Final score, Mariners 6, Padres 1, baby. Let's go. And let's see if I can pull up this photo without my shit crashing. All right, let's see. Are you going to crash? Are you going to be nice? And this one, it looks like after it rebooted, everything is good. And when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win. Mariners win. Mariners win. Woo! We got the sweep, baby. Woo! Let's go. Trident's up, baby. And Captain and Reflect, I'll get you some photos tomorrow. Let me see if I can pull up at least one photo and see what happens. Hopefully I don't crash right here with everything. It seems like it's working a little bit better now, even though the music obviously had an issue, but it should be back obviously after this is done. Let's see if I can squeeze in a couple here. It looks like it's loading a little bit better. I don't know, internally they had some kind of thing going on, but looks like I can do it now. Let's get a couple photos for SGA and the Thunder for Captain. And then Reflect, anything that you want to see, let me know. Yeah, it's definitely much better now than what it was before. It was all, everything was lagging, freezing, and it wasn't even my internet. I knew it was the program itself. And usually I don't have too many issues with it, but today it's probably the worst it's been. And now it looks like it's good. Anything that you want to be able to see, Reflect? Let me delete some of these photos. Glad I was able to get that. At least the system didn't fully crash and whatnot. You want to get photos for Matt real quick? We'll squeeze in one for Matt, so that way he can have a memory there. And we'll get you some Cam Chancellor too. I feel with her, it's not as annoying as it was, during the Chiefs Super Bowl run. You just don't see it as often as they were kind of pushing it down our throats and whatnot. So. And she is a really good human being, compared to a lot of the people in the music industry and in Hollywood that, are, not good people. So let me see if I can get some Cam Chancellor up here for you. Great Mariner win. A sweep on the Padres on their own field. Unbelievable. They already are. It's the Pacers and the Knicks are in the East Final versus, you know, you got the Thunder and the T-Wolves in the West. It's already Pacers-Knicks already. And the Knicks should win that series just like the Thunder should win theirs. It would be shocking if we get T-Wolves Pacers. That would be a terrible marketing for the NBA. No one would watch. Well, I'm not the coach of the Boston Celtics, you know, shooting three after three after three. That's not on me. That's on them, you know. And if anything, the NBA is going to suffer because really, who wants to watch the Pacers in the finals? You know, obviously with the Knicks and the Thunder, you know, that's all right. But again, it would have been better if it was the Thunder and the Celtics. So. Anything else that you want to be able to see photo-wise? Let's get a couple more for Matt here. He hasn't been able to see photos like that in a minute. Oh, I hear you, Paisley. I'm almost done. I know, I hear you. AM, big win. Now Matt is rejuvenated in Hawaii with a little Tay-Tay. Great job by Brian Wu and the Seattle Mariners. I agree, man. It was awesome. And again, we're going to be live tomorrow for the White Sox. And again, another series that potentially we could swing a sweep, but you know, we should probably be thinking 2 out of 3. Yeah, I agree. And hopefully we'll end up, playing with the same type of intensity that we have in this particular series. I hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday afternoon/evening. Everyone in the Pacific Northwest and everyone that's a Mariner fan is definitely going to be very excited to be able to look back on this series after we just got swept by the Blue Jays at home a few days back. We're able to kind of return the favor to the Padres, and I know Padre fans aren't really, we're looking forward to what was going to end up happening with them against Seattle. But again, a great win for the Mariners. Final score: Seattle Mariners 6, San Diego Padres 1, and we'll be able to squeeze in a few more photos for Reflecting Captain tomorrow. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang. Tridents up. Let's go Mariners. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and obviously since he became Pope, they started winning a little bit more, but we should be able to get them starting tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go Mariners, Tridents up, and I am out. Gang.